Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Heroes CCL presented by Wisdom. My name is Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justing, and I was specifically instructed to talk about something that I enjoy before we get to these games, and I very much enjoy Heroes of the Storm. So let's talk about some Heroes of the Storm, Grubby and Justing. I know it's very surprising on this stream for us to talk about that, but I really want to quickly, before we get into this, I just want to get both of you, what's your excitement level for the PTR patch? Is there something you're just I want to see that? Because for me, it's obviously Rhaegar, but what about you, Justin? I want to start with you.
I'd like to see if Probius is playable after the PTR. That was the other really big change. And Rhaegar, I'm also really looking forward to seeing if Rhaegar is going to get C play. I'm expecting he will. I'm a little bit concerned that Rhaegar might kind of send the whole meta into a double support fiasco because of the wave clear that Rhaegar has, and also that he's going to be sort of a counter to double support himself. So yeah, I'm kind of expecting that a lot of double support stuff is going to start happening when Rhaegar gets launched onto live.
What about you, Grubby? Anything from the PTR right now that you're just ooh, I can't wait for that to go live?
Yeah, I'm excited for Rhaegar as well because they just made him they made his purge just like the Warcraft 3 Orc Shaman purge.
Oh, really?
It works the exact same way. You cleanse effects with it, and you do a deprecating, a decaying slow on an opponent with it when you cast it on an enemy. So straight from the playbook of Warcraft 3, which is pretty darn cool. Even though Rhaegar wasn't big in Warcraft 3, more in World of Warcraft, but his kit, very, very similar now. So that's cool. Lightning Shield as well. And yeah, it's been a long time since he was more than a meme pick, or at most a Storm League pick to fix a broken draft that didn't draft wave clear at all. So I think it's time. I think it's time for him to shine. We may see some double support. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's going to be that fast unless the CCL meta shows and defines it, and the people are watching and copying.
Typically, in my experience, a lot of things are copied from CCL, like Sylvanas with Mind Control. that was popularized by Oxygen back in Season 1, and now we have a lot more Mind Control Sylvanas, so it's really cool. And actually, Grubby, before we start talking about rosters, you just made a free connection for me. I didn't make the connection that the new Rhaegar skins on the PTR are basically his Warcraft 3 skin from the Shaman skin. I literally just made that connection. Yeah, they look really, really cool. There's a lot of cool variations with it. But let's start talking about the live patch. Let's talk about what's happening right now in Heroes CCL, because we have some rosters for these two teams that we're going to be taking a look at. And Justin, who are we going to see on that Oxygen roster?
On Oxygen, we've got the Superflex in Draded. We've got Heavy playing support, Madara playing the ranged, my pal Vince, which is the newest addition to the team, playing the tank role, and Nazmaz playing the offlane. And of course, we've got Pirate Rum, who maybe will make an appearance one of these days. But I'm really excited to see how my pal Vince can assimilate with the team.
Now, Grubby, what are you thinking about the Simplicity roster, as they will be on the opposing side of the battleground?
That's one scary club of players.
Yep.
Fancy Pants, Legacy Masquerade, Mene Unaverted. And, if your sub is Cure, and he could come out of the woodworks, you've got a strong team. And, it's not because he's not good enough that he's not on the main roster. He's focusing on some other things. But this is one strong roster here. Mena, most successful HCC return player of the recent times. And looks like he's having fun with the game, picking his mages again, or Falstad or Zagara, bringing basically the same thing that Dino is bringing to 30k. The low death, good DPS play of pretty good flexibility, and knowing exactly when to send that damage, not in a PvP direction, but PvE on the side lane. Looks like a lot of teams have forgotten the side lane value sometimes, or are unable to prepare for that, or don't keep it in mind when drafting. You just see these spell stats, Zagara plays by Mena, taking a lot of damage there from the enemy team.
It is really, really strong with his split pushing consistently, and just the overall team fighting that we see from Simplicity. But we'll see if Oxygen can rally and match the aggression of this #1 seeded team. We can talk more about split pushing and side pressure, because we know what map we're going to be heading to, so that will kind of drive our conversation, as it is going to be the map choice of Simplicity, choosing to take us to Infernal Shrines. But if you're wondering how we got to this map choice of Simplicity, Oxygen won the coin flip, opting in for first pick priority, banning out Sky Temple, and Simplicity bans away Battlefield of Eternity. So this is looking pretty good to start. I do like Infernal Shrines for just the overall playstyle. We haven't seen it yet today, Justing, and maybe any thoughts or expectations as we're going to be loading into this map fairly soon?
Yeah, this is one map that I don't think Mene is going to be looking to do quite as much split pushing as he'd like to, the Zagara or Falstad. This is a team fight map. This is a 5v5 map, so I think it's going to be... This is kind of where you go and you just want to fight. And this is my favorite map. I'm excited to get to watch it this time. Haven't seen it yet. And Simplicity, they are 4-0. They're a powerhouse of a team, but Oxygen is a team that I think plays really well when they're all together. They're a very kind of death ball style team, I'd say, where they work really well just as a 5-man, as a cohesive unit. And so Infernal Shrines is a map that should be good for Oxygen based off of that. So we'll see how it plays out. And already a Tracer ban, so they've done their research into Simplicity, I'd say.
No Tracer to come out. Really quickly, before I get Grubby's thoughts on this as well, Infernal Shrines map record for both of these teams. Oxygen Esports is 2-1, 2 wins, 1 loss, and the members of Simplicity are 2-0, so they have not lost in this map just yet. But they could find their first map loss here by Oxygen. It's definitely possible, Grubby.
Yeah, it is possible. Oxygen is actually rocking a really solid score themselves. They've beaten Diamond Ants, who nearly has beaten Simplicity. All of these teams can be quite close together. And just talking purely about the bans, there is a massive prioritization on ranged damage dealers from both sides here, which is quite something to behold.
No Dahaka ban, Justing, no Brightwing, no Stukov. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah, giving the Stukov over to... I'm expecting Simplicity takes Stukov here. It seems like the obvious choice. Picking the Falstad... Oh, I guess not. Wow, that's... Okay, well, if Oxygen takes Stukov on the 2-3, I'm liking what they're going to be getting here. Yeah, they're happy to take Stukov, especially with Hebi playing it.
Oh yeah,
he loves Stukov. We saw that in the clip where he just 2v5 the enemy team. Him and Traded just spamming out those E's with the low blow. The low blow, and Traded on Falstad. We've seen that do work as well. So I like what Oxygen has so far.
Grubby, did you have something as well?
Yeah, Legacy's been in love with Brightwing for so long, right? Like, it's basically his entree into CCL was off the back of like 90% Brightwing pick or something. I wonder if it's just preferential here at this point between the two.
I know Mephisto is very strong for this map, Justing, but do you think the Mephisto ban leads us to believe this is a double support composition for Simplicity?
It's definitely possible. Uther is still available. Uther Brightwing is one of the better double supports. It definitely works pretty well. Tychus isn't always the best for double support because it's not exactly your hyper carry that you want to see. So it's possible, but I think it also might just be a target towards Madara. And since it's Infernal Shrines, and Mephisto is so strong on this map, and Madara has shown it before, so I think it's mostly a target on Madara because he does play a lot of mages as well, like Mene does, but he plays more of the Chromie, the Mephisto, and of those, Mephisto is an absolute terror on this map.
Some cool pickups from Simplicity, in this latter half of the draft. And what do you think about all of this, Grubby? It's really starting to unfold with these last 2 picks from the side of Oxygen.
Yeah, Simplicity is going for single target deletion. Everything that they have can do that very well, Variant Tychus Brightwing. And Stukov already picked, so it's not like you're going to be able to take Cleanse. Lunaro was banned. Altogether quite well drafted by Simplicity. They just go with the Hanzo Mei. Now, Mei is one of the more defensive tanks, and Vince plays it very well. She has that self-cleanse on herself. Doesn't work if you're polymorphed, of course. But the blind is extremely helpful into Tychus. The final pick is going to be Zeratul. This isn't Cure. It's presumably unaverted. Going to be on the Zeratul. And how well will that do into Oxygen? I've always found Zeratul to be quite tough to deal with as a Mei player. I just kind of watch my Malfurion get deleted by Zeratul when I'm Mei. You can do a blind, but that doesn't last that long.
Yeah, not a whole lot you can do there as the Mei into the Zeratul. Your CC is a little too slow and delayed to come out. And one thing with unaverted on Zeratul, he might be in the spirit of Cure. He may go the Cure build. I remember back in the day, unaverted and I, when we were on Wildheart, he would do 1v1s against me on Zeratul with that build. And he's really good at that build. I had no idea how to play it, and he destroyed me. It was a fun time though. But so he's been playing it for about just as long as Cure is. So we'll see whether he looks to go for that Q build or if he'll look to go for the Cure build that if you ask Unaverted, he might contest that. Maybe he was actually the first. You never know. But I think overall, I kind of prefer Oxygen's composition though on shrines. I think Solar Range Tychus is a little bit difficult to pull off on this map. While the Odin is extremely strong on the shrine, they might not really have that staying power and that one-shot potential that you would really like to see comboed with the Varian. So I'm slightly favored towards Oxygen just based off draft alone, but Simplicity might be the better team.
Alrighty, Justin. Well, thank you for the breakdown, analysis, and prediction. We'll see you after Infernal Shrines because we're loaded on in. We got Oxygen in the blue, Draded on the Falstad, Vince on the May, Hebi on the Stukov, Madara on the Hanzo, and Nasmus on the Blaze. Over in the red, we got Simplicity up in the top lane, it looks like. We got Legacy on the Brightwing, Masquerade on the Varian, Mene on the Tychus, Pants on the Hogger, and Unaverted on the Zeratul. I am going to, personally, Grubby, I'm going to lean into a Simplicity win on this one. You got Cure as a coach, you got Unaverted, who, after the little story Justin just told me, Unaverted and Cure are kind of working together on this. It seems like this could be a very devastating Zeratul. But what do you think about all this, then? What do you think about all this in the draft going into Infernal Shrines?
So that was news to me, what you guys are saying about his Zeratul having had the same trajectory or the same time period of practice as Cure. Doesn't mean they perform it with the same skill. And most likely they don't, by Unaverted's own wordless admission that he is showing with his talent pick, because he's gone for the cleave. So while that one-on-one hyper teleport, hyper micro, hyper outplay build is possible, and apparently he can play it, it looks like it's going to be more of a single target deletion on a target, whoever it is, most likely May or Blaze, and then Void Prison the Falstad and Stukov, so there can be no disruption. It looks like that's what it's going to be with cleave rather than the one-on-one build.
Really kind of curious. I guess maybe we're seeing it right now, but like there was so much investment from Mene, Masquerade in the top lane with this Tychus Variant. They sat in that bush for what felt like was like 40-some seconds. And I know vision manipulation is something, and we can talk about that all day, but it just feels like that was kind of a little bit of a loss because now Oxygen's the one who's rotating around the map, grabbing aggressive side camps, and it feels like Simplicity have to kind of catch up a little bit as they sat around in top lane trying to find a dive burst on a Blaze?
Well, you know how it is. Every investment is a risk, and sometimes you just have to hold on to the stock in order to try and see if it's going to pay off. That's what Simplicity did, and Oxygen sidelined the market, and Blaze never got curious enough by asking himself the question, but what if they're not really here? And the longer it goes on, the less good of a value trade it is for Simplicity in terms of opportunity cost. Therefore, the more likely Blaze is to mess up and make a mistake. But sometimes you just gotta be logical. Maybe they really are there. Maybe curiosity can be sated in post-game analysis. You can just see it in the VOD. And Pyromania gets turned on here and was the very help that allowed Blaze to survive this. As well as a little bit of a blind from Vince. Nearly first blood.
Nearly first blood, but we sit killless on Infernal Shrines with a Mortar Punisher spawning in about 15 seconds. Madara Hebi grabbing this Bruiser Camp on the left-hand side. We've already had the Bruiser Camp grabbed by Simplicity, and it just now arrives at the fort front gate. I actually think the timing for Oxygen's pretty good on this. They lose a little bit on this. They lose one tower, but we have to take stock of what happened earlier, which was Mene sitting there gunning down the tower to about 50%. So all in all, that camp did not get a ton of value as we see a decent scatter arrow coming in. That's 9 stacks on this Hanzo. He was struggling at the start because there was no 4-man to match up against in the rotations between lanes. And so he's going to try and kind of catch up on these stacks very quickly. Same can be said about Falstad as he's sitting at 2 on those hammering stacks.
That's one thing that the hidden failed to materialize gank on Blaze achieved, right? By not being anywhere, they didn't give Traded any stacks.
That's true. That's true. Early game stacks are good for this Falstad as he can poke into the objective phase.
Nice
Madara wants the finish, the completion for the extra arrows, but as you said, Grubby, this is a very good spin from Hogger. Masquerade needs to pull these sappers down. Hammering comes in from the Falstad. He's actually just trying to play within range, and Pants is like, all right, I'm done spinning. I'm just taking a lot of free damage. But speaking of free damage, woo-wee, there's a lot of free damage going into Vince, who is going to be able to back away with something. No, okay.
Mena's going in.
No, that's Mene. You know that was a complete trade. He was just like, I'm gonna get the kill.
He thought there's extra gold for first blood. So he decided to take the one-on-one. But no gold, no items, sadly. Still, though, eliminating Mei, no tank. Here's the only range damage, though. And they're going to get the objective, but the one more kill to Oxygen. Can they get another? This could be a 3-for-1.
Phase shift from Legacy will not be interrupted. Punisher jumps back onto Nasmus. Legacy very low, almost goes down to the lurking arm, and the arrow from Hanzo. Speaking of arrows of Hanzo, Madara already done with that simple geometry at level 1, and that is going to be a good factor for the later engagement phases as well as poke around these shrines. But Falstad flies out of lane, trying to match some of the experience that the Zeratul, unaverted, was just still soaking during a lot of this, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Falstad misclicked his step. Yeah, you are not mistaken. He did massive soak and pushes in mid and bot. I think Falstad misclicked his talent. Yeah, I mean...
It's just not a good talent. It's just not a good talent, I'll be honest. The W build is not good on Falstad, fact.
Let's explain how charged up works. You get like 4 strikes, now you get 6. If your opponent, which is probably Zeratul, doesn't go out of range of your lightning rod to disjoint future hits, you will also get a 5th and 6th. Isn't that exactly what pros generally don't draft for, don't pick for? Like, pros pick for burst in the first 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 seconds. They don't generally care about second 6 or 10 or 12 of a fight. That's not how long it takes to CC and delete someone. So charged up gets more range and strikes rather than the bonus splash from Boomerang, the wave clear from Boomerang, and the spell armor reduction, which pairs up with Stukov and Hanzo. That's a big misclick for Falstad.
I don't see a world where that works out.
Yeah, I don't see how that's ever better.
Yeah, it's like maybe, okay, cool, like, you get more W's on a Hogger that's going to get free spins, but it's not going to kill Hoggers. So I agree with you. Like, it's such a hard trade in abilities. But let's talk about the trade that happened in top lane, Grubby, because we do have a replay from what happened in top lane, and we can break that down for the audience at home.
Yeah, right when they're fighting for Punisher, there was a really nice play from Hogger with that loot horde. It blocked him big time. And Mena there on the flank. Everyone else got out of the Mei Blizzard, but Mena went deep, obviously. Kind of worked out for simplicity. They got the objective, which, you know, as we know now, ended up getting about a wall. I think Oxygen managed it well, though. Getting 3 kills out of that basically makes it a break-even point.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty 50-50 moment there.
I think the Zeratul split soaking was pretty much mitigated by those kills. If those kills didn't happen, I think Unaverted split during all of this, because we can see on the minimaps during that highlight that he was still just doing double soak between lanes, and this greater cleave is, you know, it makes sense why we're seeing this cleave build from Unaverted, because it does amplify that speed within the rotations. But Volskaya just gets a poke out into the lane, 21 stacks on him. Next objective will be mid. We see a retreat ping out of bottom lane as there's a wave walked in, and it takes about 25% off the fort.
I feel like Draded probably played ARAM and he accidentally had the W build. You know, the meme build? Yeah. Hotkeyed.
You know, that build is, and I'm doing air quotes because no one can see me, that build is getting buffed in our upcoming patch.
You only need 75 stacks instead
That's what
of
it used to
100.
be! That's what it used to be!
I know. But now you only get your kill resets after those 75 instead of from level 1.
No, I know. I mean,
it's just gonna bait your Storm League allies to pick that even more often.
Exactly. It's like I've tried it so many times, it just doesn't work out. What it's gonna be tried in this game?
Oh, you're the Storm League ally that tried it.
No. Sorry. I've tried it in like quick match and stuff. I don't need to give my team a loss.
Better, man. Quick match is competitive.
Vince going in with the icing. There's going to be a Brightwing kill. Cryo Freeze will be used by Vince. Ice Wall comes out. We do have, I believe, protection. That's Wall Shield from the variant utilized, but Masquerade's still being slowed. Gust is not available. It was already used. Masquerade protects once again, is able to get out of the Blizzard, but a kill onto Brightwing is a pretty good just momentum push for the side of Oxygen.
Let's count Thunderstrike hits on Falstad's next target. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, cool. All right.
So he doesn't have a talent. Cool. Doesn't have a level 7.
I almost spit my tea, Grubby. Masquerade
for a Void Prism.
looking for something here. Masquerade did finish out as level 1. We do have a taunt onto Nasmus. Vince comes in with the icing. Madara taking a lot of damage. Does force the Zeratul away as we have Hebi and Draded still floating around the left-hand side. Lurking Arm coming out from Hebi. We do have the Giant Dragon from the Hanzo, bunker down from the Blaze. 35 skeletal defenders rising for the side of Oxygen, but maybe they go down. Hogger goes in with the Hortipult. Nasmus is saved by the Gus. There's an Ice Wall from Vince, but Nasmus and Vince are so low, Hogger has to spin away. 2 skeletal defenders left for the side of Oxygen, and they're able to get it, but at what cost? Zeratul gets a massive VP. There's a Blizzard underneath, but it zones them away. Mei goes down, so does the Hanzo. Here goes the Hebi, and this is a solid triple kill to the side of Simplicity, who still have to clean up this Punisher, but what value does it get? Probably not much.
Yeah, again, the one that gets the Punisher ends up losing 3 heroes, this time 3 for 0, not 3 for 1. So Simplicity this time kind of coming out ahead as experience from heroes starts to count more and more. This Punisher will not even get a wall plus 2 towers. Frozen Punisher, the weakest when unsupported, interestingly, even though generally it's the best.
Right.
It's the weakest one to suicide and kill for, to get to sacrifice a few heroes to get the objective. Of course, it's still a deny. It's all Oxygen could really do in that situation. They were dropping so low, but they weren't just going to leave with 37 skulls left. So, nice job by Simplicity. It's 3 against 4 kills. Very, very close game. Still 6-4 up. In the meantime, though, Bahamut, Zeratul, is scaling. He looked pretty good in that fight. He wasn't one of those useless Zeratuls we've seen in CCL, where he's just a Void Prison bot. He looked good in terms of damage, and he's getting a higher level. And 16-20 is where Zeratul really shines.
I'm actually trying to look really quickly and see what the split on siege is. Wow, 89,000 siege damage from the Zeratul compared to the Blaze on the opposing side, which is 73,000 rounding down. That is some really, really, really good split soaking from the Zeratul, and I think that is also the reason why Simplicity is actually doing pretty well in the latter half of this. The split soak has pulled in a little bit of an advantage with the minion kills, but as you mentioned, heroic kills are really starting to add up, and that last engagement was massive for the side of Simplicity. Banner down from the Varian does give a 20% increased spell power to allied heroes within that dotted circle. And so they'll try and get some extra healing out in that as well, because I always like to bring this up because it's a fact that we need to just push into the brains of the Heroes of the Storm community, Grubby. Spell power also correlates to your healer as well. You buff your healer spell power, you buff the healing output of your healer.
I think this is why they renamed it to spell power. Before, like instead of something like spell damage, as it is in fact more. Void Prison on a single target, it's Hanzo. He can't jump away anyway. He should be dead. No, he's totally fine. Nice gust.
Nice gust away. There's going to be a lot of damage on the Draded. There is a huge arrow on the Verdict. Gets shredded by the Dragon Strike. Legacy trying to back away. Nasmus trying to body block. Mene is going to get slowed a little bit. Hugger gets a decent bounce off the wall. No slow. Wait, Vince, do you have a slow? Blizzard goes out. I think they should be able to retreat on the side of Simplicity. Pants. Oh, good polymorph. Taunt turnaround. Nasmus should not fall unless he goes back in. Way too aggressive.
Blizzard will hit. That's a stun. Big damage, though. Mene did a really good grenade on Nasmus to stop the mounted Blaze coming in, who was going to try to catch the Hogger. Then when the grenade dismounted him, he was slower. It allowed Brightwing to hit a polymorph. Again, preventing the jet propulsion. Then the taunt. Then the fight. And it was a lot of damage going back and forth. Great defense for Simplicity, as essentially that was a 4v5. But we're 4-4 in kills, 17-17. Just 1/4 in the lead for Simplicity. The smallest of advantages, but a very, very competitive game here so far.
It's so competitive. I want to hear how these players are communicating. And who do you want to jump into, Grubby?
Let's go into Simplicity.
Here we go.
I'm right. On their back line. Big cannon, Blaze. I got poly on him. I can stun him. Yeah,
we win this.
Can we send Zeratop or?
No, look at me.
You good, Oga?
It's fine.
I got it.
I thought.
I'm on the way soon.
I have shield breaker for.
Care go.
Not too deep. Yeah, we don't go.
I go up now.
We want double foot off this, right? I think
we can do
Zera gets the pry out, and then
What's your Z?
I have it. Zera
He's on false.
Come
Come here.
Coming?
Okay.
Is it fightable?
Fine.
There's
I'm
three
behind.
top. There's three top.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Just let me clear then. Brian, come here for a CD.
Yeah.
You guys need to push bottom or mid. Just let us
Yeah.
split. Me and Brian will get value. We're pulling
need
people top.
Yeah, I need another wave.
I think we get
Probably
the
just
mid for it.
play for mid.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
play safe for now,
We
and then
have-
Brian will see soon.
we have a
Yeah,
small
we're getting a lot of value everywhere. Let's go.
I take these both wave quick.
We're doing a top wall, top keep wall.
Z and
Let's do
5.
mid.
It's a really big problem.
We
for
can
them.
tank with flag, huh?
Yeah,
We have
5Z
Z.
now. Yeah.
Alright, I'll leave you top. Maybe you just like stay safe top. and then-
I think I just go. You can look for a kill on
Go
mid.
back.
Kill this. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. They're all here. They're all here.
Big.
I got
Hanzo?
BP. Look,
Looking at Hans.
look.
Looking at
I'm
Hans.
just on mid.
Yeah. Oh, Blaze.
Overthinking.
Play slow, play slow.
Try to run.
Just leave.
I might be in the mega shit here.
I can.
No,
I can
go.
go back in.
Yeah.
Nah, that's bad.
I need help. I need help.
he-
Just let me do it.
That's fine. We're still getting huge value bot. Come on,
Right
Just
side for them.
14 scatters. Doing our camp. I think the fights now will be a lot easier because they have no force to go to. We just play shrines.
A lot of really good communication around the objective phase of what they wanted to do after gaining said objective phase, but it seemed like that mid lane push, the shot calling was whatever they could see, but everyone had two different ideas. There was Blaze on the right and VP on the left. It kind of split the decision of Simplicity a little bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall the exact position. I mean, there was a big Void Prison, and Masquerade kind of wanted to step up, but there was also a lot of counter CC, probably via Mei and Falstad, that meant that the backline... Oh, Barrel was interrupted. He's forced to use Gust. I think that Gust and the Blizzards, and even Massive Shove, are kind of stopping some of the big, like, pile-on to follow up on Void Prison. And most likely, Void Prison should not be a wombo combo, because there's nothing to wombo. You Void Prison, you Odin. Hey, like it's not really like a devouring maul quality. Arrow will do small amounts of damage to Varian. Varian looking to choose a target. Actually, he's already used his taunt. There's a Blizzard.
Blizzard, Ice Wall, a lot of damage onto Pants, but he's able to get the nice spin out. There's another banner coming down from Masquerade.
You know what's
Unaverted.
funny?
Yeah?
That spin, he must have started it before the Ice Wall, because he would not have had enough time to start it
Yeah.
after the Ice Wall procced, before Blizzard hit.
It was actually really cool because it was exactly that, but now we have a bit of a scuffle in this bottom lane. Commandeer Odin's out with the big red button as the 20 talent tier was achieved by the Simplicity crew. They are going to be doing their best to siege through the bottom lane, utilizing big red button to try and whittle down this keep and open up a win condition through this lane, but also utilizing their 20 talent tier advantage over the opposing side. First keep falls about 15 minutes in. Looking pretty, or excuse me, 16 minutes in. Can't read the timer at the top of the screen, but either way, it is, it's looking good. The other thing, too, to talk about when we were in those comms is I think the siege also, the aggression and all of that was kind of mitigated, not only by the CC, as you were talking about, Grubby, but also Legacy was tanking tower shots. You could actually hear at one point he goes, I'm tanking. And he's just tanking tower shots, and Legacy, I think, dropped to about like 50 or 25%. So I also think that kind of threw everything off. So it's just a little over-aggressiveness in the mid lane. And even though they did lose out a little bit on the side of Simplicity, they still gained, what, 3 forts and the vast majority of a keep? Like, this is still Simplicity in the driver's seat of this game, though 20s are also now on the side of Oxygen. Can this be the turning point for our blue team?
And it's not going to be a single fight if it is.
No.
Nadara straight into Varian, because 6 forts has a way of stopping all ins.
Oh, no, the oh no!
Melting point.
Yep, melting point value right there.
Yeah, I mean that was just simple and clean, right?
For some that maybe don't know, why did that happen? Why was Masquerade not seen? Why was there no Shimmer, Grubby?
Invisible Friends grants permanent invisibility, at least this patch. In the future, there will only be 9 seconds of invisibility, because Varian can't do that normally, not that long. And 1.5 seconds of stationary invisibility offers true invisibility, rather than the kind of shimmer from the Predator movies where you can see something but you're not sure what. It's just entirely missing. A lot of damage here coming on Vince. He should be dead. Nice kill there by this triplet of heroes, Legacy, Masquerade, and Mena. But that's it. He stood there for 1.5 seconds, kind of prediction, where are people going to be? And then he was not revealed, with basically random shots into everywhere. People always check bushes. They can't check every single area. Scatter, Sonic, the tools are there. They just didn't expect it. Smart positioning by Masquerade.
Very smart positioning, as we do have a VP onto the Falstad. Blaze is split from the team. We have an arrow coming through. Unaverted has to get out of that line. Okay. Unaverted was about to fall to just the damage of that arrow. We do have the keep in top lane going down, but yeah, please, Grubby.
That Gus didn't hit anyone. It's rare to see a Gus that doesn't hit a single person. As I'm not sure that's going to be like super impactful. Realistically, I think the level 7 pick probably was more impactful. Nuke right on Stukov's head. He lost the 50 armor from the massive shove. It's not quite a speed run. It's a pre-level 20 victory here for Simplicity. But once it really started rolling, basically 0 to 16 plus, with few exceptions, Simplicity closed it out rather cleanly. Very well played by them. Oxygen also played well. They weren't destroyed, not by any means. It was a good match. But Simplicity, very nice and clean victory here with some good moves.
Simplicity, as always, just keeping things simple with their draft and their play style, and I really like what they did here. Something we didn't talk about much in the draft or throughout this game was the Varian level 13. He went for Shattering Throw, and there aren't a ton of shields on the side of Oxygen, but the big thing for Mei and her sustainability is when she pops that Cryo Freeze, that is an easy, immediate Shattering Throw for the Varian onto that Mei to try and burst her down through that Cryo Freeze. But I know Justin is waiting to talk about maybe just the Zeratul, maybe just the map, but I got to get your thoughts on all of this, Justin, as we are out of the game and bringing you back in.
Yeah, so Unaverted did not go for the one-shot cure build, and he went for the Q build instead, and he did make it look pretty good. Especially when you're able to just use solo VPs like he did a lot of the time just onto a ranged, and then the rest of Simplicity kind of pushes forward, and then you're kind of left alone. Like, you might be with your team, just almost, but then you get VP'd, and then the whole team pushes past the VP, and then they can just try to look for a one-shot off of that. So they were good VPs coming out from Unaverted. I think he played pretty well in the Zeratul. That game kind of was really weird in the early game. The team that got every objective ended up losing members. The first objective top, Simplicity lost 2 members. They got the objective, but they lost 2, so they didn't really get anything. The second one was the same thing for Oxygen. They fought around mid and just barely get the shrine in a really close fight, but they lose 3, so they don't get anything with their objective. It really came down to that third objective is where Simplicity really broke the game open. They get the objective, and no one dies for the side of Simplicity. And then they had Unaverted and Brightwing pushing top with the Night Camp, while the rest of the team pushed mid. So they ended up getting top 4 and mid 4, and then half of bot keep, and even some top keep wall damage. And that was really where they broke ahead, where they had a big XP lead after that, and that was kind of, they just really snowballed off of that. And Oxygen really needed to win that last shrine on the top shrine. That was like their big moment. That was their window to come back into the game, was to take a team fight there. And they didn't get the chance because the Invisible Friends on Brightwing let Masquerade do a sneaky little play, get the pick onto Madara Hanzo at the Madara playing Hanzo at the literal worst possible time it could have happened. Mm-hmm. And then after that, Mei getting picked top by just Varian, Tychus, and Brightwing is pretty impressive to be able to kill a Mei. You wouldn't think that Mei is really killable in that situation, but they layered their CC basically perfectly. They just killed a Mei again at the worst possible time for Oxygen and the best time for Simplicity. So that just kind of really well played by Simplicity to sort of know their windows and know when it's important to get kills, when it's important to look for picks. And yeah, Simplicity just looks a little bit more cohesive, just like they look like the better team right now.
Simplicity is looking strong from game number 1. There were a few moments that they did kind of stumble, and Oxygen was able to find a kill or two. And this moment right here, this was the big turnaround moment. This catch on to Hanzo, as you're talking about, is exactly what the members of Simplicity needed to end the game. And then just the follow-up, just kind of barrage of damage was just really, really well played from Simplicity. I overall like how they played that, how they addressed a lot of things. I think Simplicity also drafted really, really smart, Grubby, with the Shattering Throw Varian as well.
Yeah, very nice to be able to kill Mei with that. And even Blaze can get that level 16 shield normally, right? Mm-hmm. You do sacrifice a bit of that healing debuff potential, but just the fact that it's not about damage or anti-healing, which is also damage. It's about not having Mei be unstoppable. So you can actually taunt, you can actually polymorph and so on, get that vulnerability from Brightwing. So it seems like the right choice in this game for sure. I can't help but feel the Falstad level 7 was a bit of an influencing factor.
Yeah. I
can't say that 6-4 standing made this game particularly close, but it's it's basically like having a really, really good talent for PvE and PvP, or not having a talent. That's how bad it is. And normally I wouldn't really harp about it, but
Yeah.
I think that's a feels bad moment when you misclick that. I don't even know if you tell your teammates, because it's just demoralizing. But like, they may notice. And,
You
like,
probably say something. You should probably
you
speak
say
up.
something, right?
Yeah, you
Like,
say
you're
something. You
not
say,
trying to-
my bad, guys. Like, don't look at my 7 talent. It's probably the,
I mean,
the
when-
proper
when-
comms.
Yeah.
When I play with my 5-stack, and I have misclicked like from time to time. Like once in a blue moon, you'll hit Control 2 instead of Control 3 because you think you're at a different talent tier or something like that, or you were just playing Murden, so you're not playing a Nubarak. Regardless, I've done that where it's me silent for a second, and then just me with a very, very soft swear word under my breath, and they're like, "What'd you do?" It's like, well, we got to change our playstyle a little bit. Or you can do what I also do, which is my favorite thing: play Falstad and tell your friends that you took Hinterland's Blast, and then you all hear them hit tab all at the same second to immediately go, "Oh no, you still took us, thank God." Anyways, let's talk about our next map, because we know we're going to for map number 2, and it's going to be the Simplicity map choice of Tomb of the Spider Queen, as Oxygen, the losing side, has opted in for first pick priority. Going into Tomb of the Spider Queen here, Justin, what do you think we could see here draft-wise? Do you think Oxygen could go into more of like rotations, play the map, siege, or do you think Oxygen needs to bring the fight to Simplicity sort of deal?
I definitely prefer to see Vince on something a little bit more aggressive. I don't think that the Mei was really like a big issue in that game, but on Tomb especially, there's not as much clear objective to fight over, so it's more, you need to be a little bit more proactive with your engages. Like Masquerade on the Varian was able to start a lot of fights and get a lot of picks just with taunt, and Mei doesn't really have that same kind of ability, so maybe in a Nubarak or Muradin, something like that, Diablo even, would be a lot preferred on this map, where there's not such a clear objective to fight over, where people need to come into you very often. That only really happens around the boss, because oftentimes you can give turn-ins and just defend them. So I'd like to see them play something a little bit more aggressive overall on the side of Oxygen.
Okay, well, we're seeing the repeated bans of just the Tracer, Vala. I think these are literally the same bans from map number 1. And that's actually, I think that is the 15th ban onto Junkrat for the side of Simplicity. So that's a lot of Junkrat hatred from them. And then really quickly, before I get Grubby's thoughts on what we could see for draft, just a little map score update for anyone wondering. Oxygen is currently 1-0 on this map, 1 win, 0 losses. Simplicity is sitting 1-1, 50% win rate on that one. But Grubby, I want to get your thoughts on what we're seeing here, maybe what we could potentially see from these teams?
Well, we could see a cooldown coming out of Mena, a cooldown or a Kel'Thas is quite possible. I mean, it's the map for it. It's a little bit less the map for Zagara. Though Falstad seems to have been extremely high priority for both. It's no surprise to see that coming out. Interesting how, after those 4 are gone, Falstad has been the next. So, is he 5th best assassin after Junkrat, Lunara, Vala, and Tracer? Mayhap.
Maybe.
Probably.
I do like I think the Tychus is definitely up there as well as a top tier assassin for us as well. We've seen so much of him. This is what I was hoping for, Justin. We get a Dahaka finally today. Finally.
Yeah, and Vince on Diablo, which is something that I know he's comfortable on, and it's something that's aggressive, that is good on the map. And now, since they picked this on the 2-3, they now have the option to ban the Tychus. That's kind of the obvious ban here, so I'm expecting that that's what they're doing for the side of Oxygen. That does mean that Simplicity is likely to still get the Brightwing if they want it, which, as we all know, Legacy loves that hero. So, and yeah, that's also a very good heads-up ban for Simplicity, because Draded, well, he didn't have the best Medivh last week. He is still one of the best Medivhs we have here, so it's good to see that. And yeah, Dahaka, I was surprised they picked the Blaze here, and it is. I was going to mention that before, right before you, or earlier in the draft. I kind of passed my mind. It's weird to see how Dahaka from last week was being almost first pick every single game, to now where it feels like the priority on Dahaka has definitely come down a bit for pretty much all the teams. So it's good to see it still picked here, but weird to see it picked so late. And Tychus is available.
Yeah,
if they want it.
What do you think that Legacy will then opt in for a healer for the side of Simplicity, Justin?
Possibly the Deckard, possibly Anduin. I think Deckard is a little bit scary if you don't have any other. I mean, they do have the Falstad Gust and they have the Blaze Bunker, so he might feel comfortable enough to pick it. There's the Tychus, that seems obvious, and Masquerade going to the Varian. It looks like they're going to save the support to sort of counter pick. I think that's smart. That's a good thing to do. There's really nothing they'd prefer to Tychus or Varian, so it's good to just save that support for last pick and see if they can get away with Deckard without getting one shot.
Some good draft knowledge there, because I was curious too. I was like, well, what are you going to do on the side of Simplicity? But what do you think of all of this, Grubby, as well?
I think Deckard is the most likely since he's picked it a lot. Uther is not entirely unimaginable either, though there's not really a hyper carry glass cannon. Could also go with Anduin potentially. We'll see what it's going to be. But on this side, we've got Mephisto. That pretty much rules out Uther, I would say. You maybe want to cleanse. I feel like Anduin would be the most appropriate, though he doesn't have as much heals to deal with Tassadar Mephisto. And by the way, that's a double mage. That's really interesting. Could go for the auto attack Tassadar, of course, but it's weird, especially into variant. So I don't think it'll be most likely Psystorm. None of the above. Gonna be Malfurion. He will have Tranquility, then armor for everybody, heals for everybody, and then at level 20, lots of Tranquilities, presumably. And he can deal with the root. So he's gonna have a cleanse against Madara's ult, if that's what it's gonna be. Could be the minuscule damage in a universal range, though, on everyone.
Before I get your prediction, Justin, I want to ask you about this double mage that they draft on the side of Oxygen, because I had the same thought as Grubby. I'm like, you're drafting double mage. Does Mephisto, does he operate as the same sort of mage where it's like, you don't do double mage because you have 2 bursts, and if you don't get the burst, you're done? Like, is Mephisto maybe more like Sustain-y in a sense, or am I kind of pulling at straws for all of this?
Mephisto he's kind of a weird hybrid, because he is a mage, obviously, but he doesn't necessarily play like the other mages do. He is kind of unique in the sense that he does have that sustained damage with his W, and if you're able to hit the resets, then you have a lot of sustained damage if you're able to just keep going in and out with the big AoE lightning nova around you. So I'm a little concerned that they might struggle to deal with Masquerade. Masquerade should be fairly invincible in this game, I think. But I do like that, well, I would have maybe preferred to see like a Zarya instead of the Tassadar, and just to prevent one-shots, but they're going a completely different route, and they're going with the offense is the best defense to maybe keep the Tychus away from their Diablo. So we'll see how it plays out. I kind of like Oxygen's comp.
Alrighty, well, thank you, Justin, for the breakdown. I wish we could have got more of a discussion around this, but we did load in quite quickly. And on the left-hand side, we have the members of Oxygen. We got Diablo played by Vince, traded on the Tassadar, Heavy on the Stukov, Nasus on the Dahaka, Mater on the Mephisto. On the side of Simplicity, we got Masquerade on the Varian, Falstad to be played by Mene, Legacy on the Malfurion, Pants on the Blaze, and Unaverted on the Tychus. So Mene on the Falstad this time. A little bit of a change up here, Grubby, but I also got to get your thoughts, because I'm calling for a Simplicity win. What do you think about all this?
He's played a lot of Falstad. Of course, he was on Tychus last game as Unaverted went the Zeratul road, and I've never seen Mene on Zeratul. Don't know if he can or not, but it's not his role in this team, quite clearly. So he's going to be Falstad. He does very well on Falstad. I think safe player, throws his hammers, and I think he's going to take the right level 7 talent as well. We'll see about that. Masquerade dancing.
Nice check into the bush with the Lion's Fang from Masquerade, as he's actually dancing. Masquerade was dancing in lane for a second there. Very interesting. Either way, sorry, I'm looking at minimap. I'm trying to take stock of what's happening, as well as some of our level 1s. We do have that Psystorm at level 1 for, Psy Infusion at level 1 for the Tassadar, so it's going to be a lot of good wave clear from that one. Mephisto actually blinks right onto a root. Vince is caught by that as well, and we have First Blood. So close to the side of Simplicity.
So we'll get it next time, Copium.
Yeah.
That was a killer route. By Legacy Teeth. 2 people locked down, just a long time route that easily led to the follow-up kill.
Nasmus in bottom lane pops his essence, does have that spell armor from his level 1, did go into the Enduring Swarm, so while you have your Dark Swarm active, you have 50 spell armor, but you also have the duration of Dark Swarm increased by 0.5 seconds. Masquerade, oh no, it's Legacy is the target. Vince is so far forward in front of this gate, he may have some spell armor, but
oh my god,
not enough.
Legacy had 37 HP.
Yeah.
You know, that felt to me pretty crazy by Vince and by Oxygen.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as crazy as it looked, I think, because very nearly 2 kills were made by Mephisto. He had his level 4, he didn't have Spite, he went for Static Barrier, a little bit of safety to the self into what could happen to him if he gets caught out, getting that shield instead of the CDR. But it was so close to get the Malfurion, and maybe a second. Slight miscalculation, perhaps. Nice try. And after all, let's not forget, it wasn't just a random fight. if they win that fight, they also get a lot more value out of the Bruiser camp pushing mid.
I have a quick question for you, Grubby, because I've always wondered this, and I don't know if you know the answer or not. When you pick up a Regeneration Globe, and you have like a friend in a bush, like we had right here. We had Heavy and Mater on the bush, and Drady picked up the Regeneration Globe. When that globe travels to the person in the bush, can someone, like the Falstad Mene, could he actually see that globe goes into the bush, or is that...
100% when I started learning the game for the first time, globes revealed themselves by going to bushes.
Okay.
But I know there have been a few changes sometimes that I wasn't aware of. Like, apparently towers don't have ammunition anymore. No, just
Wait,
kidding.
what?
Yeah, that one. But yeah, I don't know if that's been like a change somewhere in the last 6 years. But I know that in the past, globes would travel to heroes in bushes. I would say if I had to guess for my life, I would prefer not to because it's a silly thing to stake a bet on. But if I
What about playing
to,
some deli games?
yeah, that's okay. I would say they still reveal people in bushes. But again, I'm not sure. Maybe Chad will know.
All right, well, we'll have to poke people about that as we get out of the game. Maybe we'll poke Justin's brain about it once we get out of Tomb, because it's something I realized, like, I don't look for it in my own games, and I just realized it, like, I was seeing it, and I was like, I wonder, let me just poke the Grubby brain about this. But either way, we'll talk about that a little bit more as after this matchup, as we do have turn availability for both teams. No one has summoned the Web Weavers just yet. Both teams do have quite a bit in their pockets. 50 in the pockets of Oxygen, 53 in the pockets of Simplicity. A little bit turned in on both sides. The 7 talent tiers are here. And hey, Falstad got that good old boomerang. Yeah, it's a weird talent, totally. Taunt from Varian.
How is he going to play without the bonus range and hits from Thunderstrike?
We'll have to see if Mene can reinvent the wheel per se, as Heavy takes so much damage as they're hammering. Any hammerings, one auto attack will be enough, and that'll be another kill over to the side of Simplicity. Taunt from Varian, overpower from Diablo. Masquerade very low. He is actually going to get hit with that electric fence from the Tassadar. Short distance grenade from Unaverted just to try and stop Diablo's shadow charge or even anyone from stepping forward. I really like that read from Unaverted, because it kind of looked like a bad grenade, but realistically, it was just a read if Diablo goes back into Masquerade again with a Shadow Charge. Cool little mechanical plays.
Nice triple kill there for Simplicity. They only need 9 shots, but it's Tassadar that will be making the turn in first. Blaze zoned out by the Haka. Oxygen, despite losing several heroes, will get the turn in. And will this be a blessing or a blessing in disguise? As the question is, level 10 will be so close for Simplicity. Can they leverage that for a near free turn in? And they're so close to the edge for themselves to get the turn in. The counterattack is sure to be much more threatening if Simplicity gets the next turn in. Let's see what Oxygen can do against level 10 on the verge.
Right about to hit that 10 for Simplicity, as you were mentioning. The Web Weavers have descended. First one of the game, first one for the side of Oxygen Esports. And now I'm just looking Gust, Bunker, Odin, Tranquility. Pretty standard. I would say, like, honestly, I feel like Malfurion's 10s, like, it's like a 50-50. I feel like Twilight Dream and Tranquility, it's not situational, but it's dealer's choice sort of deal. How do you want to play your Malfurion? Do you think the enemy team's going to dive you a lot with the Mephisto, with the Diablo? Sure. Maybe we go for a giant silence, but doesn't seem like that big dive is too threatening, so he just wants a lot of more sustained healing, so that way they can turn the fight on the side of Simplicity. On the opposing side, Grubby, got some cool talents. No Apocalypse, going to be Lightning Breath.
Lightning Breath, Archon, and we got Durance of Hate. Okay, all the good odds. We have the fight breaking out here. The Haka with the Dragon Blaze. Varian, a little bit of spread attention by Oxygen, such is the nature of the positioning there.
Almost enough for another turn-in for Oxygen as well. They got 46 out of 55. Sorry.
You know how I usually choose ults with Malf? If I'm against melee assassins or squishy bruisers, it's Twilight. If I'm against ranged assassins and or tanks, then I go Tranquility. I don't think Twilight usually that good onto tank.
That's fair. That's fair. That makes a lot of sense too. I was thinking that like maybe Vince goes in, you silence him, and he's kind of on an island by himself. But now we have that map of vision manipulation. But the Skull Missile scouts out Masquerade, but he still comes around the corner, gets a good taunt onto Vince. Vince is getting chunked quite heavily, does have souls, and they're trying to reset said souls, 600 HP, falling to about 300 or so, and Vince is able to tap well, fire stomp away, and here come the big bad Web Weavers for the side of Simplicity.
Dude, imagine being that survivable. Like, that's insane. 5.6k health. He had the spell armor. He has the healing from the W's. and he had heals from his support as well, because that was easily like 7, 8, 9,000 damage being unloaded onto Vince. Pretty crazy, and he survives. Big push, the counter push dreaded as expected. Simplicity did indeed lose almost nothing to that first Web Weaver. So I'm gonna vote blessing in disguise retroactively. They still have 4 towers out of 6. That first turn in, not much. And this one, so much more. They got a fort. They created space by nearly killing Vince and used it to kill the most important lane fort. It's textbook play by Simplicity. Hard to find any fault. Clean, effective, and it's propelling the game towards the late game much faster than it could sometimes.
Simplicity is on a very strong trajectory to be able to take Tomb of the Spider Queen, but it's Heroes the Storm. Comeback mechanics are always a factor, as well as scaling between teams, as well as some good team fights. Corridors are really good for Vince as he's trying to turn in a few gems. 55 necessary, 67 in the pockets of Oxygen, 90 in the pockets of Simplicity if they want to try and turn in their own 55 here. Something that we didn't really talk about much, and I'm seeing it more and more on this map, Grubby, is Simplicity's skill in defense. Looking back at Infernal Shrines and also at this map, kind of putting them side by side in the way that Simplicity defended. Simplicity would, lose the Punisher or whatever, but they'd lose the Punisher, win the fight, and then defend in lane rather than defending by the fort. So they're mid-maxing how much they're losing, as we have 2 big fights on the map right now, in bottom lane and in this mid. Vince getting low once again. Masquerade is actually going to try and dive back in. He gets a little cleanse from Legacy, who pops the Tranquility. Big Lightning Breath from Diablo. Masquerade is on an island as he is just caught out, and that will be the first kill for Oxygen. But the one thing I just wanted to highlight is just the way that Simplicity's clearing in lane, defending their structures. They're playing really, really well on these maps where the objective is supposed to really push in and open things up. But speaking of things being opened up, it's going to be opening up a few kills, as that was a gust that kind of actually helped get the Dragon unaverted. And the economy is being shredded!
Wow.
Oh, 90 gems turned into, well, 23 turned in, but 90 gems are, Tassadar is going to be traded, but that is massive. That is huge. That is colossal for the side of Oxygen to get those 4 kills and reset all of the gems on Simplicity.
Yeah, Oxygen has opened up the map, and they've opened up their lungs and breathed in deep, and they've let roar. 5 kills here, minus all gems, KW, and they get the time and space to clear the siege camp. They get the turn in. How many gems are they still holding after this? A fair amount, about 50%. Let's see how this just came crashing down like a house of cards in a light breeze. It doesn't take much, actually, for a house of cards to collapse. Here is Simplicity. That's how it started. They tried to kill Diablo under the fort. Masquerade went down, which would have been fine if everyone else just ran away. But look at this, Nazmas. He's going in. How did Legacy get slowed? It was the isolation. That slowed down him. And instead of going for him, Blaze, that tried to peel for him, went down instead. Everyone trying to help each other. It's the tragedy of great friendship. Had they cared a little bit less about each other, they could have tried to stop the bleeding at 1, 2, or 3 deaths. But the desolation is complete. Not sure what Meta was doing there. He wanted the gems. He's like, barrel roll, barrel roll, barrel roll. And yeah, definitely a series of chained errors. Oxygen gratefully makes use of it. However, they only got 1.5 fort by the time the Simplicity starts to mount a defense again. Meta comes in with the gust. The fort is down, though. Is this a good idea? It is an idea. So far, it looks good. Now it looks great. Is it going to be fantastic?
Archon form from Draded. We have a very low variant dragged by the Dahaka. Stukov will fall. Legacy very low is traded out by the Draded Shockray. Actually, it was Mephisto with the last hit. This is actually a fight that's kind of spiraling out of control because it's actually Simplicity who's going to be starting to lose out on this. And Simplicity will lose 4 members. What was going to be the god tier YouTube gust that wins the fight for Simplicity was the nail in the coffin for this fight. Realistically, Grubby, this was actually exactly what Oxygen wanted. They may lose the Stukov, but they still come out on top, and they also get just enough for a turn-in right now, plus boss. That timer's kinda longish. They should be able to do boss plus turn-in. Man, Oxygen's playing this well.
Yeah, that was really well managed by Oxygen, because they got gusted in. Though I must say that in advance, the gust did look like a risky play. Definitely a risky play. And I think there's something Simplicity did well. It's always better to act with a reason, even if the argument isn't sound, let's say, if the idea isn't sound. It's better to act and have a plan because proactiveness gets rewarded more than passivity because your opponent has time to think. But sometimes the move just ain't right. That one just wasn't quite right, though it hasn't cascaded Simplicity into a point of no return.
Right.
But they are facing Boss and the Web Weavers. Not quite synchronized, not quite 100% synchronized. And the Bruiser Camp will depush mid, Falstad will depush bot. Simplicity is doing what they can. Odin will do pretty good here. We could even see another morning without a fort being destroyed here, I think. It is conceivable.
We are looking at Boss plus Webweaver for top. It's from the Simplicity side, 6 to 9 in kills. Simplicity trying to find a few more kills, or at least in this defense, just trying to make sure that the Webweaver Boss doesn't take down too much here. Keep will start taking a bit of damage. Boss is going to take Boss will go down, Webweaver will fall. Banner's out from Varian. In aggressive positioning, looking maybe. Simplicity wants to step up. Small shadow charge from Diablo, I think? No, it was grenade from Tychus. That's what it was. Sorry, just the movement looked like the shadow charge animation. Regardless, when we take stock of everything, pretty good push for Oxygen. What did they realistically gain, Grubby? I don't think they got much beyond half a keep.
By ignoring the Bruiser Camp and by allowing Falstad to depush bot unpunished, they forced themselves into a 5-on-5 on Ford. Had Boss and Web Weavers synchronized arrived in a synchronized manner, that would have been enough to be a sledgehammer hit to the keep to take it down. But with the way that they timed it, and I don't know if they could have timed it better, they put themselves in really low odds position to get much out of it. Bruiser Camp just completely stops the Webby. Falstad pushed it out to over the halfway point. Unacceptable for the team that should now be in the lead to get this little out of those two objectives. And now they are even letting Simplicity pay. Most likely, I think they are, right? Like, oh, just got the interrupt, so that's good. Oxygen still in the lead to get level 20 first, and that still may get them the top keep. But they really are deathballing a lot. Like this top wave that is being pushed out very, very slowly means that Simplicity gains time on the map to deal with other problems like mid push, bot push. And note how Simplicity isn't even killing the minions. They want the battle line to remain on their side of the map so that they can soak and get gems more easily.
Yeah, we talk about concepts like turtling quite often, and this is a very good example of it. Simplicity is turtling up. They're staying by their structures where they can simply back away and stay safe near structures. That's why you're seeing Mene kind of doubling back through the gate. You're not seeing Pants step too far forward in the top lane. Mid lane, as Grubby was mentioning, is just kind of pushed out a little bit, but not completely. So waiting for these waves to crash in will allow Simplicity to slowly gain that 20 talent. But Oxygen has 20s, and they want to push the go button. They want to get this keep. They want to do something. Mephisto is going to get rooted. There is going to be the Soul Shield from Diablo proc. That's what that little audio cue was there. And Unaverted seemingly has zoned out side of Simplicity with this Commandeer Odin, as we have Mene in the bottom lane, still split soaking for that 20 talent tier. Mene will have the flight up and available, and is going to be able to close that gap. And Mene's doing, this is the smart move for Simplicity. They defend with heroics. They're fine with burning Odin. They're playing safe around the keep. They're not stepping too far out to try and chase a kill on a rooted Mephisto or anything. It's just zone them out, wait for the waves, get 20s, re-engage, look for Web Weavers.
And funny thing is, if Dreaded was a Tychus, they get that keep there. Half HP keep, no problem. But because the Tychus is defending, it aims a few spells, a few shots at a minion wave, and Oxygen tried to utilize and leverage 2 minion waves in a row to take down the keep. They only get like 10% off of its max HP. With a 0.9 level lead, with a Storm tier talent lead. They do not step up, they do not dare to fight under the fort. Now all they're gonna get is the Bruiser Camp. Can we get an interrupt? No. Let's see, Pants. Yeah, it looks like Simplicity will get the turn in. For the Bruiser Camp, now Oxygen is in a weird position. Mene could get a big ranged mosh pit if he dared to play for it, but just a little bit too little vision for Simplicity. They're going to play this safe. They're actually super happy with the positioning right now. You know why? Top is so pushed out, it's going to be an immediate threat on the keep. So if Simplicity now steps up to mid or cuts off Oxygen going top, they can get value in 2 lanes. And look at Masquerade starting to carve out space on the map. And Oxygen is very aware of that. They're scared. They could send the Haka top. They just want him to clear out bot. And in fact, Are they gonna make a big play top and just let mid fort go? That's the question, because Men is pushing there. Dahaka has a choice. Nazmas, is he gonna stop fast at mid? Or is he gonna burrow top and try to defend in that way? And he's gonna defend mid. It's a good choice, I think. Fort still goes down. Had he not gone mid though, it would also take down mid, keep wall and the fountain most likely.
Oh my god, there's so much damage on the Madara, who is going to be able to get a big shield as well as just back away with the Shade of Mephisto location. We do have the Vigilance for the Varian at level 20, and here comes the big Lightning Breath, the Hellstorm for the increased duration, and there's going to be a bunker down the left-hand side. Fire fighting fire as Masquerade comes out of the bunker. We do not have anyone down just yet. Taunt onto the Diablo. He doesn't have full souls. Vince is around 1,000 HP. You can see it pop up every so often, but the healing from Heavy is too good. Masquerade so far split from his team will go down. Is this the call to end?
He's got the range on Fortwall. What's Mena doing? They're trying to kill someone. Just a slowdown play. Pretty smart by Simplicity. Can they actually use 3 to defend against 5? That would be incredible indeed. Mena is now porting. That was really nicely played by Oxygen.
I loved what Oxygen just did right there, the turnaround. I am kind of curious, Masquerade's mega priority onto Vince. Like, it's like Masquerade and Vince have like a little bit of beef or something like that. Because Masquerade was just focusing Diablo. It's like Diablo. I'm like, there's a Stukov lurking arm. Like, there's a lot of other targets. I'm curious as to why it was so much priority onto Diablo during that entire engagement. It's just very interesting to me. The core on the right side is falling. Vince is falling very low, does have souls, could go down unaverted, looking to get that last little bit of damage, but can't do so. Nazmus is...
Stuck. Let him go. It's 29 gems, but you gotta let it go. Everyone else is coming back. They did care. It's not like they never cared anyway, but 38% on core, 29 gems lost, Dahaka gone. Gem count fairly even, both about 35 in the bank potentially. We're three keeps plus a fort. I mean, Oxygen is back in the lead. They needed several big watershed moments, and Simplicity authoritatively goes for the boss. Do you think this can be an ending boss, Bahamut?
That was actually the question I was going to ask you, because I'm sitting here and I'm scratching my face and I'm just like, is this going to end? Will it be enough? 13 gems are necessary for another turn-in on the side of Simplicity, as they have 47 in their pockets. But I don't think a turn-in plus boss is really what they want to do. Simplicity often wants to ride the high that they create, and I think they might try and just... I was going to say they might try and hard push through the top lane. Okay, it is going to be that. Mene is just clearing out the mid lane really, really quickly. All right.
Yeah, you look at that siege camp, that's kind of an issue too. You know, if this doesn't work out, the Hakat's coming back, you're literally just going to lose 2 keeps. And as I say that, Simplicity says, okay.
Yeah, they're all in.
Like, yeah, let's just go all in. Madara's doing decent damage there, not quite the connection he wants. Boss is going to take down Keep for sure. And then are they just going to go Odin 5v5 for Keep? That feels super risky. They start falling back. Now they need to clear. Will Oxygen pursue and try to stop backs?
Vince is actually on the right side of our screen. He was fire stomping out to get some vision as well as maybe stop some of the mounting, but it is going to be the camps in mid and bottom just now arriving towards the Keep front gates, and
that's going to hurt bot Keep.
Yeah, bot Keep is going to get chunked heavily. Mene is going to just get a nice big ol' hammering onto that, but the ranged minions do quite a bit of damage to structures. Actually, I'm going to look really quickly if I can. They deal 147 damage to structures, those ranged minions in the backline. Melee minions deal half the damage of ranged minions, but regardless, things have been saved. Core is at 62%, and we have enough for a turn-in on the side of Simplicity. Oxygen, a little far away from getting another turn-in here.
This is
tense.
Yeah, it's very tense. As you know, Tassadar's got such a long engage range with that force wall. It's static. It's damaging. It slows. It's got big range, short cooldown, and you can charge into it with Diablo. If they just guess, the chance is there. No, but they can't. Oh, Draven so far in front. He's so far in front. We saw Endurance of Hate miss. It was a panic moment. Just also kind of a panic moment. Cleanse, self-cleanse with the Lightning Breath, actually dealing so much damage to Varian. He can't see where he's going. Unaverted in front as well. Oxygen takes a very bad situation where Madara No, sorry, strike that. Dreaded looks like he's out of position, but they save him there. Excellent level 20 choice. I don't usually applaud Lightning Breath upgrade, but it's... Oh, that's a 5-man stun! Huge!
Well, that hammering
Huge
was...
boomerang.
That hammering was massive, but yeah, huge jet propulsion, getting the massive stun from Pants right there. Madara low does have their spell armor reduced a little bit, but that hammering from 7... that boomerang, excuse me, at level 7 for Mene, and Gus is up in about 12 seconds. We have a Varian dead for a little bit longer. There's a Endurance of Hate going to be coming out as well. There's a lot of damage onto the Blaze. Varian, or excuse me, Vince, so very low. He is able to get away once again. The members of Simplicity have got to hate this Diablo. He's just he keeps living with such slivers of HP, and I don't know if it's because they keep trying to kill Diablo and they fail at it, but it seems like Simplicity want to kill Diablo. And I understand resetting souls is a big factor, but there are so many better targets I feel in these engagements.
It's 3v5, like you're not gonna cherry pick, right?
Oh no, but I mean even in the situations where we saw that corridor fight, like it feels like it was still just like Diablo priority. The fight in the top lane that, you know, started this massive damage onto the core, it was once again Diablo priority for Masquerade. It's just, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. And like you said, it's been close, right? Like if
Yes.
they kill him, they open up the fight, they can move on to the rest, but he's kind of hard to ignore. Yeah, but definitely, I see it. It's tough. It's hard to kill him. He's got like 10k HP, almost. Again,
Gust.
very panicky Gust. Red Web Weavers coming in. No Gust available now, though. So it should be fairly possible for Oxygen to defend this without too much ado. Bottom is super pushed out, so that's not a factor at all. They get the instant jump on top, which would potentially threaten core. And then it's all about mid. If Oxygen can move away from top into mid, and there lies the real problem. They're kind of plotting that future cores in 10 seconds from now, and they're like, nah, we would get flanked. We would. So let's first deal with mid. Top, not really a threat. It's going to be on core. It never ends by itself on core. Yeah. So this should be a fairly uneventful objective phase. It's really Odin is the objective here, isn't it, Bahamut?
Odin is the big siege factor, and all of this big red button does come down from the Commandeer Odin. We have Nasmus hanging around over here as well. Falstad has made his rotation in, utilizing the flight. Webweaver in mid lane getting it chunked quite quickly. Nasmus pops the Essence. We do have the bottom lane fort to fall. And mid lane keep is going to get chunked a little bit here, but it seems like the slow play from Simplicity. I have never seen Simplicity play like sheepish or timid, and I think this is the first time we're actually kind of seeing it, where they don't want to step too far forward. They just want to poke with Odin. They're playing it nice, slow, safe, and just trying to stay calm and collected, because this late game, we're 26 minutes in to Tomb of the Spider Queen, and it's one bad team fight on either side is GG, as the Endurance of Hate will not connect.
This is how you siege down a keep, though. I will say that Simplicity has the much better heroes to do the very thing that Oxygen failed to do 3 to 4 times. Either killing keep in advantageous situations 2 to 3 times in top lane, or finishing core in a 5v3. Really, they just don't really have the team for it. You can be critical and say, oh, why can't they win a 5v3 on core? This is Mephisto. He thrives with damage via PvP. Also, it's a mage. Tassadar, it's a mage. So it has been tough. That was a weird interaction. He's silenced, he's isolated.
Bunker?
He can bunker.
Bunker comes down just in time. Varian comes in for the taunt. That's going to be Pants with the big jet propulsion. Jumps back in the bunker, gets a little bit more armor. There's going to be a big gust into the wall from this Falstad. There's the Hellstorm from the Diablo. Masquerade has found a different target to dive onto. This time there's going to be a force wall from the Tassadar, but here comes a big shadow charge onto the Varian. He is going to go down. Everyone on the side of Simplicity rushes to go back home. No, they're going to grab a quick camp.
Don't attack! Don't attack Oxygen! Go boss, you do not have the siege damage to win 5v4. They need, well, okay, they went for the Web Weaver. Honestly, that might just be enough at this stage in the game, and it was closer, and they start to assert map control quicker to protect their bruiser camp. So I respect this choice. It could have been boss Web Weaver. This is fine too. I think it might feel more snappy, more tempo-based to do it this way.
I think that's what they're doing on the side of Oxygen. They're trying to ride that momentum that they're building for this team. Varian coming back in about 20-some seconds. We have this mid lane Commandeer Odin summoned. Mephisto dives forward with the Mimicry to get as much value as he possibly can. Do have that root on the ground. Big red button trying to just push back the Webweaver, but this mid lane keep shall fall. 10 seconds on Varian as the bottom lane Webweaver has arrived as well. You can see Simplicity. They're backing up. They're trying to make sure that they don't get dove, picked, pulled, and thrown around as there's a nice wind tunnel from Falstead. Pants comes in with the jet propulsion. The Webweaver has arrived to the bottom lane.
5v5.
But that's it. It's 5v5. The Webweaver in top lane isn't a threat. And Oxygen, 28 minutes in, with what seemed like a game-winning push, have to back away.
I think Boss would have done it, honestly. I think Boss would have done it by comparison, but who knows? Maybe it wouldn't. It's just much of that. Anyway, let's see how this goes.
Sure.
Diablo comes back in. Vince misses the angling on Varian, but there's a big low blow on Mene. Mene gets away. Can Masquerade get away as well? Unaverted gets isolated. Is there a drag tongue? If Nazmans gets the drag tongue, it's over.
There's the kill onto the Tychus. Masquerade will fall as well. 2 members dead. It is the Varian and the Tychus from before. This is going to be our Malfurion. Falstead and Blaze to defend, but I don't think they can do it this time. They've tried to defend this core multiple times, but it is going to be the members of Oxygen who will take a map off of the Titan that is Simplicity. Simplicity has lost a map here and there in previous weeks of CCL, but this map loss feels difficult for Simplicity, in my opinion, Grubby, because I think Simplicity had the stronger draft. I thought they had the momentum. This double mage composition with Mephisto and Tassadar, just so much wave clear, so much poke, and Diablo Vince, I have to applaud him. He played that Diablo so very well, and now we have Justin back with us, and I have to hear your thoughts, because that was 28 minutes of pure chaos.
That was, for me personally, I'd say that was honestly my favorite game of CCL Season 3 so far. It was so back and forth. I loved that game. That was a lot of fun. Also, off the bat, I've got to give the MVP to Vince. He completely, he did he was the team that game. Obviously, his teammates are doing well, but he put the team on his back in that game. And it's great to see that with a player that's new to your roster, be able to show up and go for those engages. As W build Diablo, typically you don't see them queuing in that much, but he was queuing in just fearlessly, and it was great to see. Oh, the moment that we're showing here too is actually, this was like the first turning point. Simplicity was kind of controlling the whole early game with picks, but this moment was kind of the beginning of the turning point for Oxygen. They get the 4 kills. It's a 4 for, or I think it's a 5 for 1.
Yeah.
And this was kind of the moment where Simplicity loses all their gems. And this was like what got them back into the game. And then after this, they had another moment like this where they dove bottom and got 4 kills again. And they get boss turn in, but they don't actually get that much siege. So it was a weird dynamic of Oxygen winning fights, but not really being able to get much off of it. And shoutouts to Simplicity still, they did not make it easy for Oxygen by any means. Even they tried to core 3v5 and got defended with a 62% core once. They tried to do it again 3v5 and couldn't do it again. And then they tried again, and they finally can successfully core after doing those 2 kills bottom the last time. But Simplicity did not make it easy for them whatsoever. And this was the other actual major point that was important, is Simplicity trying to fight Oxygen in these tight chokes it's very illegal. You can't fight, watch Diablo here just breathe on everybody. You can't fight in these chokes against Tassadar, against Stukov with puddles, against Mephisto. It's like that best case scenario for Oxygen. So just really, really well played by both sides, I'd say, because Simplicity being able to hold on for so long and defend 3v5 twice was really impressive as well. So both teams played really, really great. That was such a back and forth game. I really, really enjoyed that one.
Oxygen equalizes on our in our best of 5, as it's 1-1 in our map scores. So it's not going to be any sort of quick 3-0s today in the second best of 5, but we are going to take a little bit of a break. In this break, I encourage you to hit !! prize pool. It gets you over to the Matcherino page. And if you'd like to donate towards the prize pool, it's always very much appreciated. Thank you all for the support. We've hit $7,165.48. Get rid of that change, somebody, please. And thank you, everyone at home, for supporting HeroesCCL. As I said, we're going to take that short break. When we come back, map number 3 between Oxygen Esports and Simplicity. Don't go anywhere. This is HeroesCCL, presented by Wisdom. Good afternoon. Welcome back to HeroesCCL, presented by Wisdom. My name is Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justing, and we have had quite quite great action today. Thank you for someone who got rid of that change at the last second just as we come back in. So thank you, someone. Whoever got rid of that change. But either way, we are in the midst of Oxygen versus Simplicity. And I have had a specific request from our wonderful commissioner to bring on one of our furry friends because you all have been so generous to us. Let's be generous to them as, yes, he heard the noise of the bag. We got a treat or two for Bandit here. So we can do this. There we go. Alrighty. Well, thank you everyone at home for supporting HeroesCCL. Thank you for the donations. We really do appreciate all of the support here that you bring to HeroesCCL. And we also appreciate all the people that watch the channel, chat. Even if you're not donating towards the prize pool, we still appreciate you all being here, watching CCL, cheering it on, being active on Twitter, looking at the amazing posts that our editor Warwick puts up on Twitter, like the one he put earlier today for the low blow. That was just 200 IQ. But regardless, let's talk about what's happening here because we have this best of 5 matchup, Grubby and Justing, and things are really starting to kick off. We've had a really fun map number 1, Infernal Shrines, where we saw pretty dominant Simplicity, the Simplicity we come to expect. And then we see this Tomb of the Spider Queen map, and holy crap, does Simplicity look a little more shaky. Oxygen looking stronger and stronger, getting ready for map number 3. How are you two feeling, like temperature wise? Are you like, oh my god, this series is going to be the best, or was that just kind of like Oxygen just kind of figured out Simplicity one game, Justing?
I'm kind of worried for Oxygen. Although they won that game, it felt like they used so much mental capacity to do it. It felt like Simplicity, while they did lose, they put up such a fight. It took so long to end the game for Oxygen that I'm a little worried that they could be a little out of steam after that, because Simplicity was not rolled over by any means. That takes a lot of kind of just not morale, but just like energy to be able to carry that through to the next game after winning and having it be such a struggle. So I'm a little bit worried, but also a little optimistic to see, because Oxygen taking that map is definitely important for them if they want to be able to take down Simplicity. So we'll see.
Grubby, thoughts on the series so far? How you feeling? What'd you have on your break? Any good snacks?
Yeah, I think those thoughts echo mine own. There's great strength in showing resilience in the face of defeat, and the kind of comp that they had, Variant Tychus for Simplicity, is meant to kill the front line, meant to kill the tank. They didn't get the mark so many times, and Tassadar can engage like from Jupiter all the way to Earth with that force wall range.
Yeah.
So it was tough for them, but just showing resilience and not giving up can indeed sap your opponent's willpower, because there you are working hard for it. If you get an easy win now, it's like, man, those are worth the same 1 point each. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But the score is 1-1. Anything is possible.
Absolutely. Anything is possible in map number 3, and we've got that all for you at home. And we are going to be heading into Cursed Hollow. This will be the map choice of Oxygen, as Simplicity has opted in for first pick priority. Now, you know, Grubby made a really, like Justin and Grubby, you've made really good points. And I kind of want to dive into this a little bit more about mentals. You lose a game almost 30 minutes in on Tomb that you've defended so well. Do you think this rallies Simplicity, like to be like, okay, that was just, Oxygen, they just happened to get a lucky win? Do you think that Simplicity tries to rally behind this, Justing, or do you think they just try and wipe the slate and say, we didn't execute that as well, let's try and re-execute here?
Yeah, I think it's kind of comparable to sort of like a fighting, like a boxing match, where Simplicity, well, they may have lost that round in the series. They played really defensively, and it feels like you don't really expend that much energy when you're kind of the one that's just sort of like taking shots and kind of deflecting. You're kind of wearing out your opponent, because it takes a lot more power, a lot more like brain power to kind of be constantly on the offense like that, just getting brick walled over and over again, trying to core so many times and just not being able to do it. I think that just wears you down a lot more than the defensive Simplicity. So while they did lose, they lost in a pretty gracious manner. So yeah, I definitely think that Simplicity is going to be not feeling too bad about that loss. Definitely some things that they can take from that. Maybe some draft adaptations, perhaps removing Vince from the Diavolo option. But I think that they're not going to be too frustrated with that, and I definitely think that Simplicity is going to be coming back pretty angry here in this next game.
Definitely going to be coming back angry. They're not too happy about Heavy on that Stukov, so that will be banned out, and we actually will have a legacy ban on to the Brightwing. I have to take a quick second while we're getting to this draft, and I know we're in the middle of the draft and everything, but I really, really do have to say thank you, Nozdub, for another $1,000. We are over $8,000 in our prize pool, so thank you so much for the continued support of CCL, and thank you for the massive donation towards our prize pool. We really, really do appreciate it. So just got to shout out Nozdub for that. It was really, really nice of them. As we get back into the draft, Grubby, we have this Lunara first pick for, I'm assuming, Mene.
Yeah, the first hop away from quad assassin bans in the first phase. The Stukov ban marked the necessity of the Brightwing ban, the two most dominant supports in the current meta. And that made the way open for Simplicity to pick up Lunara, who will have a small damage nerf in the patch in a few days from now. But that is neither here nor there yet. Well, it is there, but not here. And she has Wisp, which is really solid. Controls about, I would say, a third of the map in terms of the rotations on this map, which is really quite solid. Falstad by Oxygen. And Dahaka, we've got the double global. And kind of got to think this can be a Stitches play. Stitches, Dahaka, Falstad is possible. Which is why Anubrak is quite smart pick for Simplicity. He's generally one of the best tanks into Stitches.
With no healer grabbed yet, do you think we'll see a priority onto that in this ban phase? Nope, never mind. Justing. I was gonna be like, ooh, maybe some healer bans, or I guess not.
The Zeratul ban is definitely smart after seeing Unaverted on it on game 1 on Infernal Shrines. I think that makes a lot of sense, and it also would have been really good for Simplicity. And there is the respect for the Diablo. Like you mentioned, I think Stitches would be pretty good here if they want to go with that. But also I think the support trade or like banning of the supports isn't too bad for Oxygen here. I think getting the globals is more important probably than getting the Lunara, because you can play Anduin, you can play, I mean, even for Simplicity, I don't think they mind. There's Lucio and Monk are both really aggressive options that play a lot better on Curse Hollow, where there's a lot of room to chase, and also either one of those would accent the Nubarak very well. I'm not sure if we've seen Legacy play Lucio yet, but he tends to play more of the safe ones, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a Mouth, but I think that a Monk or a Lucio would work really well for the side of like Simplicity.
Skimming through my notes really, really quickly, we have not seen a Karazim or a I'm sorry, you literally just said it. I was trying to find a Lucio. We haven't seen either of those yet. Oh, he literally. Okay, I was checking my notes and he picks it up. Okay, cool. So we got a couple Overwatch characters coming in. What do you think about all this, Grubby?
Let's see, which tank do you get? Diablo gone makes sense now. I don't think you want Muradin. Johanna feels too low impact against this. You can do Varian.
Ooh, okay. Father and son.
It's funny because Varian kind of counters Genji, like not really. Genji can counter him back.
Yeah.
And while Varian can counter Lucio, if you click Lucio, Lucio also counters Varian with high five into the taunt. They kind of didn't have very good options going into what Simplicity has. You can go Muradin to try and threaten like a Lunara or just to hit Anubarak over and over. But then you have not much into Genji. So I think it was a tough choice. They go with the Varian, always a safe one. But you got a strong level 16 power spike with the banner, amazing level 20 with the super banner.
It's seriously, it's looking good. But yeah, please, Justin, please break it down for us.
The Genji pick, I think, sort of dissuaded that Stitches, because Stitches doesn't really interact all too well with Genji. It's kind of like a Tracer where you can't really hook them, and you once they're on your team, you can't really peel them off as a Stitches. So I think that Genji pick kind of threw them off a bit. I think there's a pretty good chance that there would have been a Stitches last pick had they gone for something more standard. Simplicity does have a ton of dive with their composition. They have Urel, they have Anubarak, they just have, and Genji, Lucio, they have a ton of dive. And I think that Oxygen, it's going to be a lot of faith into Draded on Falstad to Gust to disengage, because that's pretty much the only thing saving them from getting just dove on in one shot. So I think Simplicity's comp is looking a little bit stronger here.
I would absolutely agree with you, Justin. As we have loaded into Curse Hollow, thank you for your analysis as always, and we'll see you after this map as we've got Oxygen on the left-hand side, Draded on the Falstad, Vince on the Varian, Heavy on the Anduin, Mater on the Sylvanas, and Nasmus to play the Dahaka. Over in the red, Simplicity. We've got Mene on the Lunara, Pants on the Urel, Unaverted on the Genji, Legacy playing the Lucio, and Masquerade on the Anubarak. Fun little fact here, Grubby.
Yeah?
Masquerade is lossless on Anubarak, 4-0.
Oof. Wow.
So he's
That's a really
bringing
good
up.
format.
He's yeah. I mean, so obviously I'm gonna vote simplicity. Let's sit back and watch the game. That's it, right? Yeah, we don't have to cast anything,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Let's jump into comms and we'll see you after the end of the game. Grab a coffee.
You know what we should do? And someone asked me about this a couple weeks ago, and it completely slipped my mind until now. We should get into some early game comms for this series. Maybe in the next map or something, we'll do some like immediate comms at the start of the game or something.
Yeah, like when they're dancing during intros.
Yeah. Like instead of doing like who's on what side, we just jump into their comms before we even get into the first engagement, so we can maybe hear how they plan their initial engagement. We did it last season, so it could be fun.
Yeah, I like it. Let's do that next game.
Alrighty, but right now Unaverted gets chunked in this mid lane and is able to back away. Legacy amps up the healing. What are your thoughts on just the overall map layout when it comes to which heroes are in lane and kind of the matchups like Volskaya and TRL?
Yeah, so I think all those are supposed to be neutral. Nobody's supposed to kill anybody in top and bottom lane. More importantly, the order of the camps. You see the two logical camps being taken. Simplicity wants to use the highest value siege camp, which is opposite lane of the tribute, last. So they go bruiser first. Whereas Oxygen gets the least value out of their siege camp, as it's the same lane as the tribute, and therefore you go for it first. These are just classical decisions, and at the risk of boring some of our more experienced players, the reason why it's good is this. Forcing people to go top with siege, to deal with siege camp now, and then heading back down to mid and bot later is good, because later they'll be forced to go top again for the tribute. And otherwise they can just defend siege camp same time as they defend tribute if you take it later. So you want to create the maximum movement displacement of enemy team. Because these were all predictable, there could have been invasions of camps. And this is actually incredible. I mean, it's textbook, right? And Simplicity made so much use of their bruiser camp, which is even now getting value. So whoever wins this fight, it's a win for Simplicity. It doesn't matter if they don't get this bruiser camp. They forced everyone away. Losing Genji makes it matter a little bit more. I just think it was a really clever win-win situation play for Simplicity, because they've already got the gate here and the wall, and they did this so early that they have time for Genji to respawn to still come to the tribute. The big question is, will they be able to make use of the low-hanging fruit of that siege camp? Is Genji gonna go to the siege camp, or is he gonna go top? It looks like he's gonna dash into the camp.
Yeah, I'm watching his. I was watching his positioning on the minimap too. Yeah, I think that the investment into the bruiser camp invade, I think Simplicity was looking to get that, steal it, and then maybe they could double back for those siege giants for bottom lane. But with the Genji kill, that kind of puts a little bit of a stop to the momentum that Simplicity was building. But I absolutely agree. And it's something that we don't talk about a lot. We just kind of say camp timing or rotation. So thank you, Grubby, for breaking that down, because there are viewers. I understand, like, I know that the vast majority of our viewership is Grandmaster Plus, but there are some viewers that, you know, they might want to be able to pick up a thing or two from watching CCL. So we always try to educate a little bit in our casting, as we have a lot of damage going on to Masquerade. He's going to be able to burrow charge away, looking really quickly. He did go Beetle build with the bed of barbs at level 4. That does give a little more slow, which allows Lunara, Genji, Lucio to kind of chase it and speed up the chase or whatever. However you want to sustain damage, call that one. But still, Oxygen, they invest into top lane, pushing in with the black arrows of Madara. Vincent Heavy not showing though.
There's been some really smart rotations by Oxygen, by the way.
Yeah.
Hold the thought. Let's look at this. Masquerade looking for Draded or somebody else. Heavy is going to get perma CC'd. He's going to do a desperate prayer. Desperate times indeed. And he will go down. It's 1 kill apiece. Oxygen just had really smart rotations, because they knew that the respawn Genji could come to the tribute, or could clear bruiser, or could go for bottom siege camp. Oh! And they sent... Oh, what the frack?
It was cool. It was cool. It was actually kind of cool. Wow. It was just a good read.
Yeah.
Sorry, but please continue.
Anyway,
I interrupted you. Sorry.
They sent Madara bot to do a 2v1. Oh, counterplayed. Cool stuff. Cool stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Did he fly in there? Look at this goal. Yeah, he flew to avenge.
But he's on a safe side of the map. Dahaka has already respawned. He actually burrowed into the top area to try and maybe get a drag onto this Urel. He did go Feeding Frenzy at level 7, which does give you a cooldown reduction on your drag. This is actually nerfed on the PTR. Your cooldown reduction goes to 1.5 instead of 1.75, but they didn't change the passive, which is great, because your passive gives you an increased drag duration of 0.5, which I believe gives you 2.25 seconds of drag time allowing a couple more auto attacks to arrive. But here comes the boss trade. Haka scouting top lane.
All straight. Oxygen should be really happy with this since they are a little bit down on XP, but 2 tributes up. They're very happy with the 1-1 trade. A stall into boss fight would force them to fight under XP. They're happy with this. Simplicity, though, they have no choice. It's kind of just the nature of the map. Since the bosses are so far away from each other, it takes a lot of mobility and time and low damage to be able to make that trip from one boss to the other. It's not a free choice. Usually, wherever you are defines that you must take the boss now, that you cannot contest the enemy boss just because of travel times. It gets interesting in the later game, where people tend to group up more and more. Hold that thought. Anubrak, Masquerade, how is he going to move? He knows tanks are in this bush. Very, very experienced and clever. So was Vince, by the way. He did not stand in one of the 2 obvious bushes. So both tanks super aware of all the possibilities. And Simplicity will eke out tribute here. Because they brought everyone here. They had to, right? Now, Cocoon.
Cocoon on Sylvanas. Falstead flies in. There's a gust. There's a leap of faith. The gust was fine. Sorry, I was trying to think like, could he have saved gust? Maybe. I don't know if Drade had really needed it, but it's the conversation that you and I have quite often, where you fly in, and as you're flying or before you take off, you hit an ability, so it shift cues it into place. The moment you land, it's still going to go off, and there's no way to cancel it out. So it might have been one of those things where there was just, I got gust, and then, you know, it's like, haha, I got leap, never mind. Just...
Yeah, it's common that with Morganas, like if you hit 2-3 times, no matter what happens, you are going to do the triple swipe, even if you want to stop it, which is really weird. It could take like 2.5 seconds for everything to proc. So you got to be very disciplined with Morganas.
Very good play with very good hero in general. Sorry, I was just thinking back. I was like, man, I really wish we could see more Mal'Ganis. I think we've seen it in previous seasons from like Lobber. You know, this could be a cursed tribute. Do you want to jump into like oxygen comms here?
Yeah, let's do it.
In we go.
Yeah. They got a top wave to deal with as well.
They're going safe way here.
Yeah, we can maybe stop here. Start capping.
Just cap.
I'm following you, Vince.
They're doing their.
Can we insta top fort with the crit first?
Yeah.
No dig, 20.
I'm Sean,
They're gonna have to deal with mid. Mid will get there. Okay, they're there. Nice.
Can you one-shot that wave?
Yeah.
Nice.
Alright, mid after this. Triple keep.
They want
No
okay.
newbie. I think as long as we keep most of them here, yeah.
I'll go top, get the XP.
Okay.
I have dig now.
Alright, I'll try to call out you.
There could be 4 here. We see Lunar bottom.
That's my dig spot.
We see your all, we're fine.
Yeah.
We're fine to fast clear.
I'll dig here after actually. Can you push up?
Yeah, that's where we're going.
Oh,
good try.
That's good.
She's gonna go for me maybe here.
There's Zerel here, so...
Are we ready to start walking up?
Yeah.
There's a noob in this corner.
You can step up, I'm stepping with you.
I'm hitting
There's a
Mask.
Genji behind us.
Low.
I'm coming through, like, just get the building.
Yeah.
I have arrow.
Pretty healthy.
I'm gonna
I have trait. Okay, we gotta back up.
I'm quick end.
Trying to get you out of it. Nice
Yeah,
ISO, we're
the
fine.
ISO
We're totally
works.
fine. If you look for a taunt, I could.
Alright.
Let's just back up. We got 2 force there. They have 1 trib.
But
We have camp in 10 seconds.
Nice
Are you
running out.
I'm running to
out.
business. I'm running too. We're here. They don't know.
ah,
Oh, they do know. Alright, I'm going camp.
We saw someone here. I'm gonna check. If you see Mosca.
No dying.
They still wanna.
Not an explosive team fight in those comms, but what we did gain from those comms is the knowledge and the voice of really the leadership of Oxygen right now. Grubby is very much Madara. A lot of that voice that you heard was Madara, and you heard my pal Vince chatting here and there. It's always interesting to me when it's not the tank leading the charge, because it's just such a different dynamic when you do shot calling that way.
Yeah, it's usually a personality thing, which it's really interesting. Definitely. Oh my God, I see why Lidara's good.
Yeah, that's
a lot of damage.
I also see why that level 7's about to get nerfed in our patch, but what's nerfed is a Nubarak's health bar, because that is gone. We do have the Dragon Blade from Genji being utilized, Madara very low. There's actually going to be an interrupt onto the Avenging Wrath from Rirel, which would have killed Madara. Madara, does he get a desperate pair? Does he get anything from Heavy? No, not in time. The damage over time is going to be there, but then Mene is so very low, lives with a couple hundred HP. The taunt comes through onto the agility of Genji. He's getting some shielding from his... What did he get shielding from? Was it from 7? Augmented
Genji?
Guard? Yeah, Augmented Guard. That's what it was. Because I was like, it's not Lucio. Okay, there we go. But still, good save, good trade. And I think...
who's interrupted Yrel? It must be drag.
It was a drag. It was a drag. It was a drag. It was a drag.
Okay. That was really impressive because Sylvanas would have died right then and there. Now it took longer. They nearly got 2 return kills on Simplicity. Miraculously stayed alive. Mene laughing all the way to the bank with 150 life, standing at the perimeter. Genji surviving as well. And by the way, did you notice that subwoofer for Lucio had been completed since like level 4?
No, I actually didn't.
Normally it doesn't really complete, so it's quite funny to see that that being complete. Now, as we have another boss trade, let's jump into a replay of that fight just now and see exactly what happened there and how it was so close. Sylvanas nearly survived. So we have the trap here. They start on a Nubarak. That's the instant deletion. Now it's an underhanded fight, a 4v5. Genji drops real low. They go for Sylvanas. Jumps in. Drag tongue by Nazmas. Or was it a taunt? I guess it was a drag tongue. Look at that. Mene at 150 health.
Oh,
he survives. Crazy. Now turning around on Draded. They nearly killed Draded. A super cool close fight as we go back to the present with boss 35% on keep. The red boss is going for keep as well. It's 80% still, so it will get the wall. It will get a bit of the keep. And the keep down. Great job by Oxygen.
Oxygen is just rolling through this Curse Hollow map quite strong. Like, this is maybe Tomb was a big buff to their mentals. Maybe this was just also they're feeling themselves on this map. They're doing a great job. Like, the comms we got into, we didn't hear a lot of super detailed planning, but we still heard some good shot calling, some good leadership. Masquerade. I don't think he's seen
vision,
here.
Okay?
Yeah, it was true.
He was invisible and he didn't see anything, so that kind of explained that sequence.
Okay. Taunt, Light Bomb, Pants is going to get chunked. Wailing Arrow, no Ardent Defender to be used because that Wailing Arrow and Chain CC, it was off a cooldown, but that's a massive pick. What was used for that, though? Gust, Light Bomb, and Wailing.
And Taunt, but, you know, it's
short cooldown, yeah.
So that gets them the second tribute. It maintains the level lead, it maintains the map control, it maintains the passivity of Simplicity, and it should nab this fort as well. 100% worth all those heroics being used.
I agree, absolutely. That kill, the experience bolster, and this mid lane fort to go down. Falstad is able to grab a camp for top lane to apply some split pressure, Next objective is on the better side, or I guess the safer side for Simplicity, as it is going to be on the top right quadrant, or I guess top right section of the map. And Falstad just proxying waves. A lot of members of Oxygen hiding on the map, not trying to show where they are, as they're positioning for this objective, but that objective isn't even announced, and still, once it is, that's 30 seconds of timer.
Very impressive here. If Oxygen actually ends up winning this series, they'll be 4-1 in match score, as will be Simplicity. An equalization, if not of the map score per se, would be impressive. Masquerade with the double stun on Varian. Not close. In comes the Absorbent Defender. That's a 2-minute cooldown. Great bait off that. Using only basic abilities by Oxygen. Fantastic.
A good drag from Dahaka set that up, and some big burst potential coming out from the rest of the Oxygen roster. Now, it seems a little bit like Simplicity. They're just trying to back away from position. They're not trying to run away. They're just trying to get into a better spot as there's a banner cleared out.
Well, they want to deal with Siege Camp top, and they want to protect the tribute, so they need to make something happen fast. Yrel jumps in, Pams getting a big engage there. Light Bomb actually pretty darn good. Masquerade gets a big stun. Wailing tries to go out and get some result, but it doesn't quite. Unaverted, still swinging away with that sword. That's what they needed to get that kill. Can they get Nazmas as well? Nice save by Heavy.
Good leap of faith from Heavy on the Anduin, and Grubby, for the first time in for the first time in a very, very long time, I'm trying to think of like a time frame here.
Yeah, forever. For the first time in forever. Yeah, I know this song.
Inner focus at 16 for Anduin. No glyph. Weird to me because glyph is just like, how do you not? I guess. All right. So inner focus. Activate to reset the cooldown of Flash Heal, and its next cast heals for 25% more. Damaging enemy heroes reduces this cooldown by 1 second. Cooldown of Inner Focus, 20 seconds.
You get a chance to do more self-root. He was a small self-root in the heat of battle, rather than getting something like another free AoE heal and damage, or getting a second yoink. It is indeed interesting. It's not as big of a misclick as Falsta's level 7 earlier. I am going to shelve it under the misclicks, or as a, let's say, weird flex, weird kind of pick.
It was just interesting to me. I rarely ever see this. That's why I was just kind of baffled for a second. But it does play into the banner. It does play into the banner from Varying because he is amplifying spell power. So you're
sustain until Lunar sustain. I get it. So it feels good out of combat mostly, not as good in combat.
Well, 2 up on curse potentials for either side, or I guess tribute points. Curse potential on either side. Dahaka in the bottom lane has Brushstock, looking to see if he's going to use that anytime soon. Masquerade scouted out. There's the Brushstock in. Draded. It's the... What the... They just give this? 20s, I guess. I guess 20s, I guess.
Yeah, the window is so small and too big, right?
I was thinking that was like maybe the little bit of poke from the Genji or something like that, or a Nubrak with some beetles, but they play it safe on the side of Simplicity, and... This one though. This
is going to be catapult damage on core, okay? Yeah. So Simplicity, they're going to accept having like 40% core. They want to clean up, but they're going to take this fight in... Are they though? No, they've got to fall back. There's very low likelihood of this working out positively.
Well, here comes Varian. Light Bomb, Nubrak gets the burrow charge away. That was very, very smart, yes.
It's smart, because they knew Lucio can save Masquerade. The counter-engage, I must admit, I don't really get, but I guess it's an opportunity thing. They see Anduin out of position. This is really adaptive. Very, very adaptive by Simplicity.
Good wind tunnel onto Masquerade. He's kind of locked in position, locked in step, per se. Nasmus, wrong way there, bud. Legacy finds the kill on this Lucio. Boss slams his fist down, and this is going to be Boss through top lane getting... What's your prediction here, Grubby? I'm going to say 35% of the keep.
I'm gonna say 47% damage, so we left it. No, I'm gonna amend it to... I've said what I said.
He's gonna keep amending it.
We're too humble. We were too modest in our expectations. He's gonna actually leave it at 10%.
That's not bad. That's not a bad boss push. Though they did lose quite a bit on the side of Oxygen, and they will be losing a bottom lane boss. But I take stock of the map right now, and Oxygen... They're kind of okay still, like on the map. Things are looking okay.
It's fine. They lost 2, but it's under the most favorable circumstances during a boss, during a curse, and during the other side of the map, in the other side of the map, which means there's no real way to capitalize on it in too big of a way. Let's look at that fight again. That was super smart by Masquerade and Legacy. They knew that they can get the high 5 save. This one we were surprised by, but it was 100% just right. Hans, he saw an opportunity. He knew people will be near. He looked for it. He saw the Anduin, and they went to go and get the kill. Falstad played that one super safe. Disgusted, got away. They sacrificed Nasmas to the pit of victory, hoping that sacrifice is going to pay off. And now, we fast forward back again to the future. We're in a 0 versus 2 tribute situation. This fort will be saved just on the brink at 12%. I'm going to calculate that. The previous one was 16.14%, by the way. Just in case you were wondering, that's where the keep is at. And this one is going to be at 12.1%. Nice.
I was so close. During that replay little section as well, we are going to be having the top lane keep fall to those siege giants. So keeping top lane and bottom lane down on the side of Simplicity as Vince is kind of anchoring in this bush, looking for a flank. There's going to be a wailing arrow from Sylvanas. No, that was the haunting wave from Sylvanas. We haven't seen that just yet. Dragon Blade in the back line with the Dragon Becomes Me at level 20 for the sustain. We do have the Varian cocooned right now, unaverted, chunked by the damage over time. Lucio trying to amp things up, and he will be able to save Genji as the Varian taps that W and is able to dash towards a friendly member. No, he actually had the shield wall. Excuse me, I misread everything right there. He dashed to a minion. That's why I was just like, wait, how did he dash to a friendly member if he didn't take... Anyways, tribute point could be for the side of Simplicity. Genji did Hearth back for full.
Yeah, Sylvanas used a lot there. She used both Bolt of the Storm, 35-second cooldown, and Will of the Forsaken to get away from the team there. So Sylvanas has to play this one more safely. Big damage coming in on Yrel, but she's using it for health. Jumps in, it could be a big hammer. If Yrel gets off her hammer, that should be lights out for anybody that gets hit. This time it's going to be Nazmas. Will Oxygen take the 4v5 Bahamut?
Madara trying to back away. There's a great leap of faith to save Vince. Huge wind tunnel to save the day. They lose Dahaka, but they are able to sustain and back away unaverted with the Swift Strike through the camp. Mene with the channel on the objective. This will be curse out in favor of Simplicity, but when it comes to the map, look at how much blue is pushed in on the right.
Yeah,
this is going to be a lot of the lanes will just get pushed out, but I don't think Simplicity cares about the experience. They want to get some structural value. They're actually ignoring mid lane for it, sidewalling for the keep. Now,
fun note, they can't get the core.
Exactly.
Even if they get this keep, it's going to be a keep and then back situation. Would be hella funny if they get a kill and then try to go for core. They pivot to the top keep, which is an open up.
Yeah, this would take down the shielding on that core, so they could actually go for core. Because if anyone doesn't know, if all three keeps are up, the core is indestructible. You can't even target it as a hero. Once one of those falls, it's time to go core. Actually, no, it's not. It's just time to try and figure out a way to actually end the game. But you could go core.
Just you could. And if that killed mid keep, but mid fort is up, then it's actually not vulnerable yet. We now know that it would have died to minions, but not early enough if that's when they would have wanted to go for it. So, where does Simplicity get with this? They got the curse that has netted them. Very likely bottom fort. Gotta be real here. I don't think it really stands a chance with that 12.1%, 5%, 4%, 1%, and dead. So, bunch of mid keep, top keep, mid fort, and bottom fort. Fantastic result. And they arrive in time for the boss. They decide too risky to start it. Oxygen knows all the possibilities here. They could start it, they could trap for it.
Legacy leashes the boss. The Grave Golem will go back to full HP. Vince might be the target. Yrel jumps over the wall. Doesn't get any sort of stun. And I'm waiting to see if we have a re-engagement. There is a Lunara Wisp in the bush right now. I'm going to try and see how much vision that is giving for the team. Actually, it doesn't even seem like it's vision that will be yielding anything important because Vince, Nazmus, they're all trying to stay to the side. We're going to be having that boss grab. But once again, I'm swapping the vision. They do see all four members. They don't see Nazmus, but I'm sure Unaverted just scouted them out. So I am sitting here tense for both teams because this is starting to feel a lot like Tomb of the Spider Queen again, Grubby.
Wisp timed out as it was about to die. He should have another Wisp, but the fight breaks out. Unaverted in the back if he gets light bombed, but he does not.
No, light bomb connection right there. Genji with the dragon. Oh my god!
Nice
wow! That was a really good wailing arrow. Plus the taunt from Varian locks down the Genji. 60 seconds on that death timer. Oxygen, do they go boss? Are they going to go core? What's the game plan here? Wind Tunnel pushes Lunara away. This is a little bit of a split fight. 3v5 as that's an Ardent Defender used. We do have Legacy wall riding and amping things up as best he can.
Nice
the drag will connect. Will onto Pants, and they will go down. Mene targeted by Madara. That's a blink forward. Mene will go down. It's 1, 2, 3 killed in favor for the side of Oxygen, and they look to end game?
This should be it. Yeah, 100% you should end here. It's none of the DPS is alive. You're 5v2. You don't need this siege camp. Genji will be back thanks to the siege camp before the end. I guess it's kind of like an insurance policy, a bit of extra DPS, but I don't think you really need it to. But let's see how it pans out. Genji, 8 seconds. This should be like 99.99% over. Oxygen played a great game.
Masquerade just has to land the biggest cocoon burrow charge combo of his life. Genji just has to get all the damage possible, but it's not going to happen. Light Bomb comes out from Heavy. That just locks down Simplicity for a second or two. And for the first time, I think this entire season, Simplicity has lost 2 maps in a row. This is, I think, the first time Simplicity has lost more than 1 map in a series. So I'm gonna... You're right.
2-0 lead.
You're right. So it is not the first time, but it is what I will say is the first time in quite a few weeks that we're actually seeing Simplicity show some sort of humanity. They're not the titans, the gods that we have been viewing. So Oxygen on the precipice of taking down Simplicity. What do you think about that and this map that we just saw, Justin? Because that was pretty crazy and fun.
So I think my theory that Oxygen might have used too much mental energy might be incorrect here. As we can see, Oxygen has lots of gas left in the tank. It seems like they came out the gates swinging here in this game. And this was another back and forth game, though. It's not like Oxygen just completely wiped the floor with Simplicity by any means. These past 2 games have been extremely back and forth, with Oxygen just slightly edging them out. So I do really like to see that, and we'll see if they're able to actually manage to dethrone Simplicity and end up in the same spot in the standings. I'm really liking how this is shaping up so far in the series. It's a lot closer than I would have really expected the games to be, and it's a tough game for Simplicity. For team fighting, they kind of have to isolate people and look for picks, and it's really hard to do that against Oxygen when they have double globals, so they can kind of just win on the macro front as well as sort of just deathballing in the team fight. I'd say that Madara was my MVP for that game. The arrows from Madara were extremely crucial to getting picks. You could tell that Unaverted on the Genji was maybe not feeling quite as confident as he would have liked to. He was playing a little bit too confidently against Madara, and he kind of shut him down and kind of stopped him right in his tracks with those arrows. So really, really well played by Madara, and honestly everyone on the side of Oxygen stepping up in that game. I'm really, really impressed with Vince as well. I think he's turning out to be quite the catalyst for a lot of these things for the side of Oxygen, and it's good to see him assimilating well with the team, and it might be what they need to be able to take down Simplicity.
Oxygen looking a lot more hive mind in the way that they're playing, and definitely assimilating together very, very well, Justin. And thank you for the breakdown. Seriously, like Oxygen, they're looking great. I wonder if they can continue to build this momentum, or keep this momentum. Now, Grubby, you disappeared for a second there, and I don't think it's because you disagreed with what Justin was saying. I believe you have something special for everyone at home.
Well, for everyone else in my room at home, for sure. And if there's any dog lovers, then maybe they'll love it too. Because Logan was a little jealous, envious of Bandit just now. So if you don't mind, I can give him a treat too.
Absolutely. We've had a lot of amazing donations from all of you at home, so thank you for supporting HeroesCCL, and we want to give you all back something as well. So we're going to give Logan here a treat as well. Grubby showing on camera what that treat is looking like. And Logan, so gentle, so nice. Thank you so much. And seriously, everyone at home, thank you so much for supporting HeroesCCL. I have to shout it out once again, Nozdub, thank you for the massive donations you've given to HeroesCCL. We really, really do appreciate it. So we want to thank all of you at home. Shout out to Nozdub once again. And if you want to check out the prize pool, if you want to just look at what the breakdown is, any of that information, you can use !prize pool in chat. I usually say get rid of that change, but that change is looking real nice right now. So maybe we just add in a couple extra bucks. But either way, thank you seriously everyone at home for such big, massive support to HeroesCCL after the Thanksgiving break and everything. We really, really do appreciate it. But let's start reeling things back in a little bit. Let's start talking about where we're going to head to for our 4th map in this best of 5 series, because things are really, really heating up, and I'm excited to start, talking about this next draft. And we're going to be heading to Volskaya Foundry. Maybe it'll be 17 minutes, Justin, but either way, this will be the map choice of Oxygen. Simplicity opting for the first pick priority. And before I get your thoughts on this, Justin, I do want to, update people on some of these stats. Volskaya Foundry stats for Oxygen Esports, they sit 1 win, 1 loss, 50%. When it comes to Simplicity, they sit 3-0, no losses, 3 wins. So Simplicity will be heading to a map where they might feel comfortable. But let's continue on this conversation of mentals here, because I think this is kind of a good place to talk about it. Simplicity is kind of up against a wall right now. And what do you do, Justin? What do you do on that side? Is it all about rallying, having fun, looking at it as one game? What do you do as a professional player?
So you're definitely going to want to get everyone to be playing some comfort. You might be taking a look at the draft, and maybe you don't want Unaverted on Genji like he was. You maybe want him on a range that he's really, really comfy on, because he's not necessarily always on that flex role. I think everyone should kind of be playing something they're really comfortable on. You mentioned that Legacy had never played Lucio before, and he played that for the first time as well in the last game. So when your backs are up against the wall, I think a lot of it just comes down to being as comfortable as possible, because you're going to have a lot of nerves. It's going to be, a lot's on the line. This is the most pressure that you'll feel in a series. So you really want to just be as comfortable as possible, and you want to make sure that everyone's on the same page and that no one's mental is destroyed. And if there is anyone who's kind of going down a dark path here with their mentals in the series, you got to make sure that you don't let that affect the rest of the team, and you can kind of bring that person up and remind them that, we're Simplicity, we're 4-0. We've been here before, we can do this. So you got to rally the troops.
As Dwayne Johnson said, when your back's up against this mother trucker, against this wall, there's no way to go but forward. And I think that's an inspiring set of words.
Well, we'll see what we can get. We'll see.
Silence. It's killing me.
I'm sure. Maybe Simplicity's saying that to each other right now.
Nobody go it forward, boys. Let's go.
What they should realistically do is they should just grab Diablo and just give the people, just use the people's elbow and just win the game. Or maybe they can cook up something interesting in the draft on the side of Simplicity. But the draft is afoot right now, and I'm a little blown away. Oxygen, our number 4 team in standings, is on the precipice of taking down the number 1 seed in CCL right now, the number 1 in standing. So it's just, I'm still kind of reeling from that because Oxygen, they are completely destroying my expectations, Grubby. Like, I came into this matchup thinking it could be close. Like, both of the matches today, I was expecting to go to 10 games in totality. I was thinking that this one would go to 5, and it could still very much do so, but Oxygen's looking really good today, Grubby.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be 2-3 or 0-3 maybe. Not 1-3, just to be like not spreading my risk too much. Feels risky, you know. But I thought it was going to be something like that. It could still be 2-3. Like, this is where Simplicity may back off against the wall and push forward. But Oxygen could close it out here, 3-1. They should love to. They've shown that they're good at macro maps. They make good calls, smart rotations, and they flip the trigger. Is that how you... Anyway, they flipped the trigger when it mattered. That Wailing Arrow on Genji that came peeking with his head around the corner. They're at that level 22-minute mark. That was the key. Madara just let loose, and they got the victory.
Good plays to be had so far as we are in this map number 4, Volskaya Foundry. And we've talked quite extensively about our expectations and excitement about a potential 3-1 for the side of Oxygen. But we still have to see the draft. We still have to see the game. And Justin, I know you're sitting here analyzing everything. What are your thoughts on everything that's unfolded as we get into the second half of this draft?
So the Brightwing first pick from Simplicity was pretty expected, I'd say, with them banning Stukov and having Legacy, and how I talked about how they're going to want to be on Comfort. And Comfort for Legacy is definitely that Brightwing. Something that is strange is I think that you had mentioned that Simplicity had banned like 15 Junkrats away or something. Some outrageous number. Not this game. So that might be... I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that they're deviating from their plan in the draft. If it's... it's hard to say whether that's really a good thing or not, because...
Gotcha, yeah.
Well, while they are kind of trying to target Madara with the Mephisto ban, when you take like your most basic level of preparation, which is typically just your draft strategy, and if you're banning Junkrat every single game, that kind of means that you're really uncertain of kind of your plan coming into it if you have to make such a large adjustment that you've never done up until now. That kind of feels, and now they do get the second rotation ban on it, but that kind of feels like that's kind of the base for everything else to build on. So to question that in the middle of the series is a little bit worrying for Simplicity.
And that stat, for anyone wondering, it was going into today's game, so I'm not taking stock of the games that are happening right now. Out of 16 maps, they banned Junkrat 13 times. Out of 16 going into today's game. So there's 3 maps they didn't ban Junkrat. They actually might have taken it those 3 games, so that's a possibility. Either way, Grubby, what are you thinking about these bans, these picks, the last bit of this draft for Volskaya?
So far, to me, Oxygen's draft looks a lot better, and that didn't change with these two. I don't 100% get the high prio on Leo and Johanna. They are late game monsters, I guess.
Yeah.
In a way, kind of. But usually, I don't know, like I think in terms of DPS when it comes to late game monsters, which is probably a blind spot. But Oxygen's draft looks better to me. I don't feel like Leo and Johanna are as threatening, nor do they enable a Tychus as much. But it's going to be like full macro game by Simplicity. This is them saying maximum stall, and Mene, you just go win the game.
I'm curious.
We'll get it. Just go end Mene.
Just go end bottom Mene. Yeah. Just win the game for us, Mene, please.
We'll take care of the rest.
I was kind of thinking maybe a variant for like the Shattering Throw into all of the shielding that you could potentially get with the Brightwing Phase Shift and all that kind of stuff, and Johanna Ironskin. But my thoughts aside, I can break down my thoughts as we get into the game. I want to get your thoughts, Justin, because we only have a few moments as we're loading into Volskaya Foundry for your breakdown analysis and maybe even a prediction as to who will win map number 4.
So overall, I definitely prefer Oxygen's comp. I do think that it is a little weird that they didn't go with the Varian with the last pick. The Varian is probably the best tank into Zagara and Tychus. That's a high emphasis on percent damage and auto attack based damage. With Zagara, her creatures are also auto-attacking, so Varian could use his parry to deflect that too. So a little bit weird, but I guess just probably a little bit slightly more comfort on the Mei, and maybe he's more preferring that level 20 spike that he could get. I think that overall, Oxygen's comp is probably better at level 20, which is really seems to be what most of these games come down to on Volskaya. I expect to see Madara shoot out lots of pretzels at level 20, and I think that's going to be what wins them the game.
Grubby, sorry, Justin. Thank you for the breakdown. I looked at our production chat for a second there, Grubby. We can talk about that later. Thank you, Justin, for the breakdown analysis. We'll see you after the game. Grubby, do you want to jump into some comms right here for this start of the game?
Oxygen.
Let's go into Oxygen.
Neo. They might just be 2-1-2 again. I'm gonna.
I might go safe.
We see a couple of them. I'm farming this top wall.
Okay, they're top already.
All right.
Leo's already bought.
Just clear the wave.
Yeah, clear the wave and then go up to the Zag. She's pretty far
Can
out.
we murder her?
No, she's
Probably not. Not quite.
With Lunara, we could maybe also play bottom.
I'm gonna kill this creep.
Good idea. I think you're fine.
Fence is gonna be low already.
Hitting Laska.
Not quite actually.
Oh, easy.
Going to camp soon. Yeah, I'm ready to camp. We should clear mid wave really close.
Yep. Zag's
We
gonna
do
stay
want the
top.
Angela
So,
to scale a bit.
yeah.
Okay, I'm running there now.
She's D.
I'm gonna run up top, try to stop Zag from free pushing.
Yeah. I like this where like me and you just like there.
Yeah.
And then we do other shit on the map.
Oh, they didn't like that.
I guess we didn't do good enough.
A little insight as to how they're planning to start this game, as well as some of the early. Oh my God!
That's some Pulp Fiction stuff. Like, what did I just see for a second? It's changed me forever.
Thank you, production. Oh my God! Oh God! I gotta make some. I need a second here, Grubby. Can you break down what your thoughts are for this game?
It's a low-quality shop, but it checks out.
10 out of 10, honestly. Whoever did that, thank you.
I'm happy to choke out with you, friend.
Oh, thank you.
So far, we know that Oxygen likes to do shit on the map. They like to clear, they like to kill creep, and they want to murder Sagara. A pretty clear and obvious and good playbook. They're going to be given the healing token. Keep in mind that Simplicity is going to just go for the core with Bennett. Their composition is a stalling composition. They cannot just go for the kill. They will not get this Vince because they can't. It's not what their draft does. He's just going to get away. I was totally confident of that, not making it up as I go. They do have the damage from Tychus. But look at the late game orientation for Simplicity. Sagara going to do the side push. And we've got Master Assassin coming in for Tychus.
Oh God, Master Assassin coming through as well, and Paralyzing Rage for the Leoric at level 4. It's not like a crazy on standard, but you increase the slow of Skeletal Swing by 20, which I think takes it to 60%.
Yep.
The baseline is 40, yeah, so you increase it to 60. Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. Usually you see Neo Peasants for the wave clear when you have double soak Leoric, but since he's just in a solo, he's in the solo lane, I think this is a better pickup, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so, and you know, it feels like overkill to me often. It's especially good on like Tomb of the Spider Queen, right? Where hold that thought, Mei again in trouble. Don't tell me she's gonna die here.
Ups the biotic emitter, and so they will lose the item, but they do stay alive. This Mei, and okay, well, my pal Vince is fine right now. He's just gonna tap well and re-engage at the top lane. I think they're doing a great job on the side of Oxygen, just trying to also mitigate the Mene factor, because he's got, as Justin was saying, he's got a lot of these summonable. He's got these Roachlings, the Hydralisks, the Hunter Killers, however you want to call them, and they're also just mitigating a lot of his creep, which that's a big hinder to Zagara players to just constantly reduce their creep and availability from that, because there's some good value you get being on that creep as a Zagara.
Yeah, and you know, despite all that, despite the best attempts of Oxygen, we have top wall and one tower down. We've almost got the bottom gate down as well. And on the flip side, bit of tower damage here and there, not as much. So with no kills at all, oh, damn it.
That was if there was a perfect timing for anything, that was it right there. Just that was no kills, and there goes Tychus. First blood goes over to the side of Oxygen, but
Let's try this again with no chocolate falling from the sky. Oh, damn it!
I honestly, Grubby, I was hoping for you. I really was, but that's unfortunate. What is fortunate for Oxygen is they are going to grab first Triglav Protector. Now, what do they do with it? They're going to do the same thing we saw from our earlier matchup of, I believe, 30K, who rotated this down to... No, it was Diamond Hand, sorry, on this map, who grabbed Triglav Protector after Protector and rotated into bottom lane to push, but Tychus is down here, Leoric's down here, and Mater is able to get into the Triglav finally.
Just going to try to get a bit of that bot. You know, I've been thinking about the new patch changes where the fort HP goes up, but the fountain HP gets embedded and joined with the life of the fort. It's actually going to make this map slower, except this map is not on ladder anymore, is it? Though I hope it comes back. Yeah. But it would make it harder to kill a fort or get value out of the protector because you can't just go and kill the fountain. Furthermore, 2 targets present double DPS for splash damage. So if you paint the laser on fountain and fort, right now you could get both, but in the new patch, you would only get half of that damage that you would now get. So it would make it slower to get anything done with the protector.
Yeah, I'm really glad we have Warhead Junction instead of this map, honestly.
Oh yeah, fantastic map, love it.
Yeah, totally love it. Absolutely my favorite. Arrow comes out from Hanzo. I'm being sarcastic, chat. Arrow comes out from Hanzo as it just kind of zones back the side of Simplicity. 14 stacks on the simple geometry from this Hanzo. A little bit behind on our typical pacing for some of these CCL players, but when it comes to Volskaya Foundry, it's a more open map, so some of these sidewalls to get the bounces are a little more difficult.
Good damage coming in on John. I kind of stepped up there. Still the 1 kill. No other kills. Kind of holding my hat here. But no other kills yet. We've got the Falling Sword, Devouring Maw. Talents we've come to associate with Zagara for sure. Not really that Nidus anymore. I remember when you could get in Nidus despite being auto-attacked. You could still get in. That was fun. Not for the opponent.
Do you remember the reason why because we were talking about it on Curse Hollow, do you remember why our core now is indestructible until you get a keep? You remember those good old days, Grubby?
Oh, weren't you able to backstab the core with Nidus?
You could literally, like, it was like Abathur, Zagara, you could quite literally like end game by 10 or something stupid like that, because you could just Nidus in, because Abathur would get vision with mines, and you just place a Nidus and go. So insane, so absolutely crazy back then. But that's a huge jet propulsion. Falling Sword from Masquerade will mitigate some of that incoming CC as Legacy, and the rest are able to get behind the gate. Phase shift comes through onto Unaverted as we have a short Wraith Walk from Leorc as there was an Entomb, a bunker. Masquerade split by the icing of May. Vince is fine. Nazma's a little bit low, but he's going to get some healing out from Heavy. And this siege continues into the top lane, forcing Commandeer Odin. And I think Oxygen, they can just back away at this point. They get Commandeer Odin out from Unaverted, and they get a little bit of that fort front gate and top.
Yeah, they saw Leo is still double laning. Like, Leo refused to come here. I bet everyone was asking him to come. He's like, nah, man. Screw that noise. I'm going to go mid-bot until the end of times. And they used Odin to try and cope without Leo. Joke, of course. It's a strategy plan for Pants to do this. Because Oxygen couldn't get enough done into Zagara Odin, they saw Leo there. The timer is on them, right? Like, they've got to move and then go somewhere else.
Lunara also has the vast majority of her really, really good talents with the level 4, level 7, of course level 10 with the Thornwood Vines, and then you also have the Abolish Magic for another source of cleanse. Pants getting low here. Draded wants the chase. Do they have the Blossom? The 3 stacks are applied, and the damage over time is there. He actually doesn't drop the Fortification Camp because there were a few Simplicity members around, so Unaverted does pick it back up. Smart move, actually. Smart call.
He, threw it. It was like a game of rugby or football. Threw it right as he was going to go down. You take it. I thought for a second the Ghost kept it. That would be broken.
Oh, that would be absolutely crazy. Pants is cheating death. He can respawn in this engagement through bottom lane, but it's just Unaverted and Pants. So we will have Mene pushing back into the top lane. And when it comes to split pressure that Mene's done in the past, this is it's a lot less than we've seen. And as I've said, Oxygen's done a great job of just kind of mitigating the Mene factor, I feel.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like, he's been just applying a lot of pressure. Big minigun there on Blaze. Whoa! Bunker yoink.
Bunker used. We also had the... Did he activate... Yeah, no, I think he activated Adrenal Stim Pack. I think that's what that noise was. Yes, it was. Okay, cool. So it's on a 20-second cooldown. But Biotic Emitter up and available, Grubby. It's... Actually, there's a fight in top. Is there a fight in top lane? I'm looking at minimap, and I'm trying to see if Joanna's in an engagement, but no, she's just kind of floating around with Mene.
Vince stands on the point, 39%. We have an immediate move by Simplicity to go bot. Nazmas actually misses a kind of a risky jet propulsion. He turns on Pyromania. It's going to be on cooldown. That's his 40 armor. He doesn't have much left to save himself, and they know it. He's got the movement speed, but no bunker, no 40 armor.
He's got the Biotic Emitter, but that's not like an Ancestor heal or anything like that, so I agree. Here comes... Yeah, here comes the Biotic Emitter that will be used, the Entomb. Oh my god, Hanzo counteracting the Entomb. You know what actually I love about this Hanzo Dragon Strike is that anytime an Entomb comes out, we're just seeing the Dragon Strike laid on top of it to push back Simplicity. Really good counter coming out from Madara.
Yeah, I mean, Arrow not going to do as much. Like, realistically, I know I'll always vouch for the Pretzel over the Pencil, but... realistically, into Leo, Johanna, the chances that you miss your arrow are bigger than usual because of all the unstoppables.
That is very true. Also, pretzels are delicious and pencils are not, so that's also another factor in all of that in consideration.
True.
Yeah, very true. 16, though, will be here soon for Simplicity. I like what the side of Oxygen did. They were very proactive with this Triglav Protector. They put Mei inside of it. They go into top lane. And I'm going to hold that thought because the fight breaks out into this bottom lane. So we have a phase shift from Brightwing forced onto Unaverted. Legacy getting chunked a little bit, gets the polymorph onto Madara, who continues to just scatter arrow out here and there. But the cool thing that I just want to point out with this Triglav Protector is Mei jumped in it, started to siege into top lane, and the side of Simplicity was like, oh, we got to save the top lane. But then there was the quick rotation from Oxygen to bottom, and they say, haha, we're going to actually continue to open up bottom lane as Mene gets chunked just as the Devouring Maw is utilized. Legacy low, damage over time applied to Brightwing. There's a tick, there's another tick, but I think Brightwing is fine. The fort, though, will fall.
Meanwhile, Mei into Leoric is a fight that Leoric will, of course, win. Not Vince still trying, though. It's Drain Hope build. Protector didn't kill the fountain or damage the fort.
I mean, I was kind of watching minimap. That Triglav Protector spent a lot of the time in top lane, just kind of sitting in the middle of top. Yeah, it was just like clearing waves and getting experience. Here comes another Entomb. Here comes another arrow from Madara, but Masquerade locked up against the wall, or at least against the wall, trying to rotate out. Pops the Iron Skin to avoid incoming damage from this Dragon Strike. As the mid lane fort, Grubby, is worked on by Oxygen. Vince icings forward.
You know what's funny? If the Protector, instead of the Protector, was actually literally just Leoric, like you creep into Leoric's skin and skeletal housing, that might sometimes even be better. Let's be generous and say a 10k HP Leoric. That would be better than what it is. 70k HP, 10 abilities, Juggernaut.
You know, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of like changes to Volskaya Foundry, and we've all talked about like buffing the Triglav. What if the Triglav was just like you win it and it's like a Punisher? You just get a Triglav that goes into mid and it does all that stuff and you don't have to pilot it. That'd be kind of interesting to see.
You could aim all the Frozen fans, like the Frozen Circle stunts or routes, let's say.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
What if it was the Hanamura boss from day one, Hanamura?
Oh, and you can eat the heroes? Oh my god, that was
like lightning ring and spinny mace flail and
I died to that boss so many times because I just Papega playing on that map when it first came out. Now we have the carts that you push around that deal slightly more damage than a Phoenix to a structure, so kind of okay, but yeah, Hanamura Temple. I don't know, Hanamura, I don't have like a love or a hate for Hanamura. It's kind of just there, and I'm like, alright, it's Hanamura. I'll play it. How about you?
I do believe it taught me the meaning of hate. It's a bit harsh,
That's a little harsh, Grubby, but...
A little hyperbolic.
No, but our job is to, give our opinions on things in Heroes of the Storm, so,
Sometimes we're opinionated. Deal with it.
Yeah, chat, deal with it. Or don't. Yeah. I mean, it's your choice.
They were like, hey, we had no issue with it until you said deal with it. Like, now it's getting a little combative. All right, fair enough, chat. Back to the cast.
20 talent tier is here soon for Oxygen. Mene Hearthing out of the top. I'm just waiting to see. I'm trying to take stock of what's happening on the map. Seems like Oxygen want to get the mid lane fort once they hit 20s here.
Let's see. Level 20s, of course. Mega Pretzel. Let's start dealing out some pretzels. Okay. Ice Wall, Bunker,
Nice. Okay.
Censure, and Forest Wrath.
What is the upgrade? I always forget the upgrade for Forest Wrath. What is that one again?
You get Vision on Lunara, which is kind of like the map part, but I guess it's decent. And then Thornwood Vine applies bonus stacks, like 2 instead of 1 stack. So it's a bit easier. You can just do a Thornwood Vine, then press W, then Q, and you don't need a singular auto attack to proc your level 7 Q. Which of course, it's kind of extra because your level 4 already offers bonus stacks. So I guess it's just Thornwood, Q, don't need to press W, and they get the full crit. Kinda cool.
Masquerade is going to be dotted up right now. Is going to get the Condemn onto a couple enemies' Legacy with some healing. Another Dragon Strike tickles Legacy a little bit as he's able to blink away and heal up. Meanwhile, in bottom lane, Mei doing the best thing that you can do on Volskaya Foundry. Stand on a point and wait for it to channel up in your favor. But 20s have arrived to the side of Simplicity as well, and we got that buried alive for the Leoric as Pants jumps on the point. Mei leaves. Unaverted is going to be the target. Blinded potentially by the snowball of Mei. Unaverted sitting around 50% HP. As the fight actually is on the left side of this bottom area. Masquerade trying to make the aggressive rotation does get chunked. Here's a phase shift and a soothing mist from Brightwing. Pants comes in, buried alive. Leap of Faith does pull him out. Second Leap of Faith will be used. Back-to-back leaps.
Yeah, I'm not sure that second one was really worth it. Wow, massive damage by Draded from really far away. Secondly, probably not needed. Heavy now on a 55-second cooldown, which is risky because the next Entomb comes back in 30 seconds. So most likely, here's how far my monkey brain can guess. I think Simplicity might be looking to do, in 20 seconds from now, a backstab into the Protector team. They get their Entomb back, and they know there's no Leap of Faith yet.
Leap of Faith, I'm going to look at that cooldown as well. 32 seconds on the first charge. So you can keep that in mind at home. It'll be around 15 minutes into the game. Or 17 minutes, sorry. Anyways, I'm just looking at the Trigger Protector and how they're playing this inside of Oxygen. They're like, okay.
They're not playing it.
They're not. I'm just like, all right, well, it's another Triglav that just kind of walks around the map while the rest of the team actually gets some siege, devouring Maw into 2.
Ooh, wow. Is he gonna Falling Sword on top of it, Masquerade? You Falling Sword, you killed him.
Here comes the Falling Sword now onto Heavy. Does get the initial hit. I'm looking at Heavy's health pool, and Vince is going to be able to kind of jump in here. Trickle Protector has rotated into the top area. Draded. Goodbye, Draded.
So, you get the Protector. What did you get out of it?
Half a 4?
No, you died.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah, you're right as well. You're right.
But you are also right as well, Grubby, is this Dragon Strike from Hanzo is going to zone back the enemy for a second. Commandeer Odin does come down. Mei is going to icing away. A little Blizzard on the ground as well. Madara with back-to-back Dragon Strikes. I feel like the last one, like, just about ended, and he was able to summon another one. 45 seconds on that cooldown for now. See if he's able to land a couple more abilities. But Simplicity, now the ones applying some pressure to Oxygen, trying to open up the map.
Did you see Madara stood still for like 4 seconds, aiming his W, and then he shot himself in the face. He's like, I need to get this CDR. Well, let's go.
Gets it again right there. Huge play. That's a good Entomb as well. It actually zones back to the side of Oxygen. But Masquerade gets the channel on to this. Oh, Nasmus, where are you going?
He got drained. He nearly died from the drain. There was that bonus damage. Actually, he would have died if Heavy hadn't light bombed him into an unstoppable Leo. Lunara still has to clear left side, the turret camp. Keep takes about 25% damage. Ford left at 25%. Altogether, a very successful campaign here for Simplicity. Their Triglav Protector, Menezagara, did much more than Oxygen's Triglav. And that's the win condition for Simplicity. This is basically Simplicity poking Oxygen to death with a comfy cushion. Full stop.
That'd be a long. It'd take a long time with a comfy cushion to kill someone like that. But I mean, we're 19 minutes in, and we're on the perfect map for it, Grubby, because this map goes on forever. So the comfy cushion might be the play absolutely for Simplicity. If they win, I feel like that's what we'll start calling it. We'll call it Simplicity Comfy Cushion play, and it's just a slow way to win. But an invade onto the camp Ice Wall from May utilized. Asmus tries to pick up the... Yeah, he will be able to get the fortification camp. Alrighty, well, our next objective phase will be in the mid lane. We have Masquerade split. There's going to be a yoink onto, I believe it was Madara from Heavy as the Entomb comes out. Buried Alive phase shift from Brightwing, as we also have the Dragon Strike splitting the side of Oxygen, or excuse me, Simplicity. Oxygen trying to make something happen. Here comes the Falling Sword, the bunker down from the Blaze. Drada gets inside the bunker. Bunker going to be burninating a lot of these enemy heroes. There's a Biotic Emitter on the ground for the side of Simplicity. Masquerade had a sliver of HP, but Legacy, yes, Grubby, had that perfect heal.
Wow, nice scatter and Forest Raw from Lunara, from Drada and Madara. They finally get paid off for their efforts. Leoric will be falling, but the thing is, that's still a 4.1 against 5. A little bit of slow by fans. Vision offered as well. And the Protector, not the Protector, sorry, Sagara. The meme goes too far. The Sagara and Odin together will end up killing the mid fort. Losing Leo, getting a fort, all worth.
Asmus clears out that camp, plus the catapult in the top lane. Our fourth objective, there we go, yes, I can count. We'll be spawning in the mid lane, control point A. Leoric dead for about 13 or so seconds. He is cheating a little bit of death, also getting some vision for the side of Simplicity. And the channel has begun to Oxygen. Will this be another Triglav Protector given by Simplicity, or do they actually contest this one with Leoric now respawning? Zagara dropping down some Roachlings. One stack away from finishing out that level 7 very difficult quest. Basically, the reward for this is you actually get the additional spawn of a Roachling.
Yeah, and it's pretty good, because if he gets it, that Roachling also does 1.75% max health damage, to a total of 7.5% among the 4 summons that Zagara can make, not counting the Banelings. Very impressive damage. The first Protector that Simplicity could potentially get, somehow I feel like they'll get more out of it. Having a 70k HP tank in front of your Zagara and Odin somehow sounds a lot more threatening than whatever Oxygen has done so far with it.
Like, I'm holding my breath per se, just waiting to see how they go into this. They're going to immediately dive onto Masquerade. Pants on the left-hand side had the Invisible Friends. Here comes the Commandeer Odin. Leap of Faith pulls Nasmus out. Huge arrow from Hanzo chunking, but Pants is getting low. Bunker comes down from Blaze. There's an Ice Wall out from the May. The Zagara gets the Devouring Maw onto the Lunara. She's very, very low. Gets the Leap of Faith. The Triglav Protector comes down. Masquerade so very low. The Blink heals are going out. Another arrow from Hanzo, but it's not going to be a threat into Masquerade as he is able to get into the Triglav Protector. And this now goes into the bottom lane.
It only has 33k HP. I thought it was going to have a lot more at this time, so it should be really easy for Hanzo and Lunara to take it down. They're starting on it. It's got the armor. Zagara in the top lane. You're going to see, can we catch Unaverted at all? Legacy gives the movement speed. Unaverted gets cheeky. Actually starts doing a bit of damage. And keep in mind, if Zagara comes over here, Leo, Joanna, they can just pop out, make this a fight. Blaze has dropped real low.
He's dropping low, but he's not actually in any sort of threat. They have pushed back the Triglav Protector through bottom lane. 55% remaining onto this. Blink heals going out from Legacy, giving that Invisible Friends, as you mentioned in a previous map. That is going to be nerfed in our upcoming patch. The PTR currently has it at a 9-second totality and invisibility, but the Triglav Protector does step up, and that's what we got to talk about right now. Mene throwing in some Banelings here and there. The bottom lane fort falling quickly, but so is the Triglav Protector. John actually jumps out of it, leaving the Leoric all by himself. He can Wraith Walk away. I thought they were going to start dancing with the Triglav, honest to God. It stood still for a second, but he's not funds, and Pants will lose the Triglav Protector through bottom. 23 up on both sides, on levels, 4-1 in kills, and we're about 23 minutes into the map.
Now, 4-1, that's ridiculous. 3 forts down without getting any kills for it, like or needing to get kills for it. That's impressive. In comes the very defensive Falling Sword, putting it a 20-second cooldown. Scatters, absolute terror in corridors like these, and I'm actually impressed and a little scared that Masquerade would jump back in. Scatter, not too big, but Lunara is chasing. Masquerade needs a bit of help. Legacy offers it. And I think that was Laws of Hope from Joanna. How many globes does he have? 68, Jesus. 69.
Very nice. A very nice amount of globes, as that is going to heal him for 50%. Right, after one more globe, Masquerade will heal for 55% of his HP over 5 seconds. What is his HP, Grubby? 6,476. But it's a lot, indeed, because Vince is going to get the pull. He's going to go down. He has a fortification camp dropped on the ground. Draded's considering to go pick it up, but he says, no, I'm not going to go for it. Mene finishes out that level 7 as we were talking about, so you have the extra Roachling now summoned every time you drop that down. And we don't have the announcement for Control Point B just yet, so May's death timer isn't too bad, as she will respawn. She should respawn in time for this Triglav Protector Control Point B, the second one. I actually memed earlier that it's the second Control Point B that ends, and this might be the case. The Simplicity, they're trying to set up a win condition through top lane.
I mean, you could end right here. Like, Entomb is available again. How many yoinks do we have from Anduin? He's got 1.6 available, so... yeah, probably not end, but it's going to be a keep, and that's a great result for Simplicity. We could be looking at the 2-2 the way that this is going.
They absolutely can. Nasmus actually is going to body block some of the Banelings, so it does delay out the keep going down, but he still does. Sorry, I looked at production chat again. You should actually, Greg, you should take a peek at that really quickly and get yourself a little laugh. But this is a bit of a stall on the map between both sides. Keep does go down, but as I said, I think Triglav Control Point B could be a win condition for either side realistically. I'm just going to peek into the top lane really quickly. Keep front gate still up, mid lane, keep front gate still up. Bottom lane, they could rotate all the way on the side of Oxygen to bottom lane with Triglav to end, but that seems like a longer rotation than necessary.
So how does Oxygen get back into this? Because they are without a doubt down. The win condition has been opened up. The card has been played. They go for Blaze. Heavy can pull him out at any time. And he decided to wait too long. Honestly, I don't know if he was afraid of that little wall that would cut off his retreat.
Yeah.
He had a good 3 seconds, and he thought Blaze was going to be fine, but there was no bunker. Feels like a miscon.
Yep. In my channel, we call that a little Kaimo cleanse. My friend Kaimo Tripson's a healer, and he sometimes leaps of faith people and they die mid-flight. So we've dubbed
and you
it
need
the
to take that other level 13, the one that heals 200 when you pull him.
What is it? It's like boots of enchanted lion boots or something like that. I forget the name of the talent off the top. It's something with lion and boots.
Let's see. It's called Enchant Boots Lion Speed. 718 health over 4 seconds though, so it's like I don't know. Whatever.
It could have been useful. I see your point. Icewall comes out, connecting onto 3. That's huge.
Yeah.
Unstoppable, falling sword. It's all kind of mitigated. Vince's very hard split. We have actually Heavy on the left-hand side, was hit by an Entomb, so he couldn't come over and help out. He did have the Leap of Faith off a cooldown, but as I said, that Leoric Entomb stalled out the rotation, and now, just as Blaze respawns, we have May down for the next 50 seconds, and a Control Point C Triglav looking good for Simplicity.
Oh, this is Oxygen kind of getting baited by a perfect ice wall. 4v5, great ice wall though. Forgot about Falling Sword for a second.
I feel like Legacy also got Soothing Mist off right as they came out of the ice wall too, so I think there was just the double down on Cleanse, and that really helped out. But let's see, can the members of Simplicity end with a 27-minute Triglav Protector? It's already lost about 25% of the HP. Falling Sword on Draded. He gets chunked to 50%. Condemn pulls him back in. Madara going to be throwing out as much as he can to try and zone back the enemy side, but this Triglav Protector falling quickly. Light Bomb Heavy. This fight, Grubby seems a little too split, and ladies and gentlemen, the series of the day, it ain't over just yet. We are up 2-2 in our score as Simplicity equalizes on Volskaya Foundry. No loss just yet, or potentially to our Simplicity crew. Oxygen looking... That looked like the... It looked like a harder game for Oxygen. They did not look as dominant in that game, and it seems so difficult for them to find kills and really to find any sort of advancement into the Simplicity side of the map. Host like 16 area, but I think Justing is back with us, and he can break down exactly what happened in that game.
So Simplicity definitely had a better game plan coming into this. At the start of the game, they had Mene pushing top, and I think previously he was pushing mostly bottom on Spellstad, but whether this was by chance or if this was just the glorious foresight of Simplicity, I thought it was a little weird that Mene was just focusing on top, but the game actually goes so long that the last objective, the objective that they're ending with, ends up being the 5th objective, which spawns top. So you could tell that Simplicity had a good plan of what they were doing. Even from the start, they knew that that's where they were probably going to be ending through. Every time they did get any kind of picks, they would just go put pressure on top keep. And they did eventually whittle down that top keep after getting a couple picks. And it sort of felt like Simplicity, their plan in the early game was kind of just to play as defensively as possible. They really did not a whole lot of much of any fighting or anything until level 20. They basically gave all the heal packs. They gave pretty much every objective. The first 3 went to Oxygen, and with all of Oxygen's dominant early game, they managed to get 2/4 because it's Volskaya, so they didn't really get a whole lot with that. And then Simplicity just at level 20, it was a weird back and forth with both of these teams just looking to mostly poke each other out, and no team having a really clear, decisive way to engage on each other. It was mostly just a cat and mouse game of Nazmaz trying to not get entombed and die, and Heavy having to pull people out of entombs, and basically just Mei and Blaze not getting entombed at the same time. But they got the pick onto Mei, they got the pick onto Blaze, and then Mei thinks that he's got the big play with the Ice Wall. It looks so good, but 3-man Ice Wall gets completely negated by the Falling Sword. He gets baited, and then they were just staggering at that point. And the objective that late in the game, 29 minutes into the game, definitely ends the game. So Simplicity had a better game plan for the map, and yeah, overall they just definitely played it better here on Volskaya.
Indeed, I absolutely agree. Like it seemed good for Oxygen for the early portion of the game, but just Simplicity, they really came out in that latter half. The buried alive was a huge factor from Pants as well. He may have died a few times on the map too, actually, times. It really wasn't that many, but he had some really good entombs that actually set up some snowball effect to win this game for the side of Simplicity, and that pushes Simplicity into the into the 2-2 slot because we are equal in our best of 5 series. The next map determines who wins our second best of 5 of the day between Oxygen Esports and Simplicity. We're going to take a short little break. In that break, I encourage you to hit ! prize pool to check out the Matcherino. And if you'd like to donate towards that, it's always much appreciated. Thank you, everyone, for supporting HeroesCCL. We have hit $8,301.69 because of your support. So thank you all at home for just pushing that prize pool today. We're going to take that short break. When we come back, map number 5 between Oxygen and Simplicity. Don't go anywhere. This is HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. My name's Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justing, and we are on. Well, we're not really on. We're getting ready for our 5th map and our final map of the day. We sit on the precipice of what could be Simplicity's first loss in HeroesCCL Season 3, and that could be to the hands of Oxygen. But Simplicity on the last map did not look weak by any means, Justing. Simplicity looked pretty well controlled on that Volskaya Foundry map.
Yeah, Simplicity definitely came out with a plan and a strategy for Volskaya, and you could even hear it in the comms when we listened to Oxygen that it did sound like they were a little bit out of steam going into that game. You could hear it from the beginning that they seemed a little bit like maybe they're running a little bit low on that energy. It didn't feel quite the same as when we listened to them previously, and Simplicity definitely looked like they were still in tip-top shape. So it's gonna be a fun Game 5. I'm excited, and I'm happy that it's going to a Game 5 in this series.
We've had a lot of great maps so far today in this best of 5 series, and we can get you caught up as to what happened and where we've gone so far in the series today. It's been a ton of great maps. We started with Infernal Shrines. That was won by Simplicity. We go over to Tomb of the Spider Queen. Oxygen Esports, they pull out a very long delayed victory on that map. We went to Curse Hollow, a strong game from Oxygen Esports there. Simplicity just took that Volskaya Foundry map, and as we sit with 2-2 in our score, it is going to be the map choice of Simplicity choosing to take us to Alterac Pass, while the members of Oxygen have opted in for first pick priority as that losing team. And as always, I like to kind of catch you up all on stats. Alterac Pass for Oxygen, they are 2-0, no losses. And for the side of Simplicity, hey, they sit the same. So one of these teams will find their first loss on Alterac Pass, and one of these teams will also find a loss in this series. I'm excited for this matchup right now, Grubby. I got to get your thoughts or excitement. What are you thinking about going into Alterac Pass? Still thinking about noodles?
You don't forget about udon. Yeah, it could go anyway. At this point, they've proven it that they can win the big maps, either one of them. They can bring out drafts that win with alternative win conditions. I think whoever wins this is going to deserve it. That's just the incredible part here. 2-3, 3-2. I'm fine either way. Let's see a good one. We're going to see Stukov banned by Simplicity. That means Oxygen will likely ban Brightwing. Oh, whoa. Oh, they want Brightwing. So they ban what they perceive is Simplicity's next best hero decade.
Okay. Okay. I can
they're
actually
like okay
see...
with him taking Anduin or Lucio.
Sorry, I can see in-game draft chat and Legacy after that ban comes through and just goes WTF. just so kind of interesting right there. But Justin, I want to get your thoughts on what's happening on this ban phase, or maybe even some first picks potentially.
Here comes the Brightwing. Here it is.
3.
It's tense.
2, 1.
It's gonna happen.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah,
Yep.
Brightwing. So they are giving away.
How did you know?
It's just I just had a feeling that.
Okay.
I think the Haka Falstad are probably going to be up for Simplicity. Maybe not both, but I would expect them to take at least one of them. Not having the globals, especially on First Hollow, felt like it really hurt them a lot, and Oxygen used them really well. So I'm anticipating at least one global picked up for the side of Simplicity, maybe both, possibly the Anubarak. But there's the Anubarak. Masquerade loves Anubarak on this map. He is the one who tends to always get value by sneaking the objective on the Anubarak. Other Anubarak players besides Masquerade have not seen the same success as he has on this map.
And just for anyone that might not know, why is Anubarak the one who can sneak these camps? Why can he do the objective phase when other heroes just can't do it on their own?
So the objective's got it spawns the little grunts or the little footmen, and being able to summon the beetles to distract the footmen or the grunts means that you're not getting hit by them. So then you can sneak the cap when nobody's looking. That's what he does quite well.
There you go. I expect to see everyone in Storm League this upcoming week utilizing a Anubarak on Alterac Pass to sneak the channels consistently. But no, it's just making sure that we Grubby, please. I seriously, I really want to see Probius. Like, all I want to do is see Probius this upcoming week. I want to cast games. I want to watch games. I'm really interested to see what these teams and players are doing with Probius, as he did have. Well, a lot of people are assuming buffs. Like, it is buffs. He plays better. He had top damage in the game I casted, and it was pretty good. But either way, what are you thinking about all of this that we're seeing on Alterac Pass, Grubby?
I just thought of a new song. Baha doesn't ask a lot for Christmas, but there's just one thing he needs.
Cho'Gall.
Probius.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Okay. Still a draft so far. Double global blaze, can't fault them, and it's like a draft that doesn't really say anything yet. I will point out that Oxygen can go for a Stitches draft. Very powerful on this map and in this situation. Simplicity has to keep that in mind. Before, when that was a possibility, they hit him with the Anduin Genji. No, there was no Anduin, I think. Which, actually, that would be a really good combo. It was Lucio Genji, and that is still possible. Karazim breeds aggression and kind of preordains the Stitches, you see. Tychus Karazim can kind of deal with that. And the final one could be Genji, and there you suddenly have a 5-man dive team.
That's a very dive-heavy composition. Even a Greymane, actually. I would love to see a Greymane instead of a Genji. I think Greymane can dive with a Anubarak fairly effectively, but we're getting into the last portion of the draft, Justin, and I really got to hear your thoughts on what's unfolding for this 5th map.
So I do like that Oxygen picked up the Falstad. Vince taking the Diablo. I was expecting him to probably go with the Varian because it seems pretty evident that Simplicity is really looking to just one-shot somebody, and it's most likely going to be a frontline with the Tychus and the Monk, who's going to likely have 7-sided strike. Anubarak can just burrow in, and I'd probably just delete the Diablo. So I'm a little bit worried about that. I anticipated the Varian with the Protect, but they go the more aggressive route, and this is what worked for them on Tomb. But I'm not sure if it's going to work quite the same way. Having Falstad, it's not quite the same amount of spread damage that they had on Tomb with Tassadar. And so Mephisto, kind of jumping past his Diablo and sort of trying to dissuade that one shot. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. So I'm a little worried for Oxygen, and they do pick up the Greymane, which you had hinted at. I really like Simplicity's comp here. I think that they're in their comfort zone right now.
I would agree with you, absolutely. It's looking like a good Simplicity comp. I love the Mephisto, I love the Diablo. I'm leaning into the Oxygen side of all of this, but any kind of closing thoughts, Justin, as we're just about to load into this map, what we could expect for Alterac?
I'm expecting the early game to be pretty Simplicity favored. I think it's going to be really hard for Vince to play Diablo in the early game especially. And then later on, as the game progresses, I'm hoping to see Vince put on the same type of performance that he had on Tomb. He's looked really, really strong on Diablo so far, and hopefully he'll be able to do it again. But I do think that it's going to be a lot harder this game than it was on Tomb. So it's going to be a tall order. I think it's going to be up to Draded on Falstad and Vince on Diablo if they're going to pull it off. But Simplicity just has a great draft all around.
Alrighty, well, thank you, Justin, for the breakdown. We'll see you after our 5th and final map of the day, Alterac Pass, because we're loaded on in, and ladies and gentlemen, we're going to find out who is going to win this series. We got Oxygen in the blue, Draded on the Falstad, Heavy on the Brightwing, Nasmus on the Blaze, Vince on the Diablo, and Madara to play the Mephisto. Over in the red, we got Simplicity. We're looking at Pants on the Dahaka, Mene on the Tychus, Unaverted to play Greymane, Legacy on the Karazim, Masquerade on the Anubarak. Now, I have called for an Oxygen win, Grubby. I'm liking what Oxygen... I have this feeling, like, and maybe I'm caster cursing them, but I just, like, I have a feeling they can do this. I believe in them. What do you think? What do you think about all this?
I think Anubarak Greymane gets stuff done. I think they're going to get a lot of walls, and if they know how to disengage, that's going to be great. They got a tower already. This is insane. I think these kind of win conditions are very powerful. Having said that, Tomb of the Spider Queen was won by Oxygen under similar circumstances, where they had a Mephisto, where there was the better push on the side of Simplicity, but Oxygen team fighted better. So that is a smaller map though. Anubarak Greymane, a little bit more scary on a map like this. I'm gonna go with Simplicity, but it's by a small margin.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel I have this gut feeling for Oxygen, but we'll see if my gut's right or wrong as the map will progress. First objective phase is going to be in the top portion of the map, but the real objective is going to be the siege camp, the null camp. We have a quick rotation to the side, to this right side Simplicity null camp, and left hand side Oxygen doing the same thing. As always, just like to break down some of this information for anyone that doesn't know. The null camp, as you can see next to Madara and Heavy, reduces armor of heroes up to -20, but it's not only heroes, Grubby, it's also structures as well, and these null camps really push extremely hard into the mid lane, and speaking of hard pushing, we have more pressure into the top lane. Draded, losing one tower already. The gate hasn't taken much damage. Actually, no, I'm misreading the bar. The gate's taken quite a bit of damage. It's the tower that's actually taken just like 25%. But Simplicity, they're like massively invested into this top lane. It is a boss lane. Overpower onto Unaverted. You got too close to the wall there, bud. But Legacy comes through and saves the day. No punishment for Greymane.
What a legend. Thought he was definitely dead. And I feel like Vince was holding his shadow charge to make sure he didn't whiff it. And then finally there was no time for it anymore. It was a sweet move. Almost. I mean, it kind of should have been a kill. And there were some XP sacrifices, but mostly it's unpicked up XP, like this very wave here. So Simplicity is very happy with that. They get the top wall. Not the highest prio wall, but it's a wall.
Some sort of siege damage into the side of Simplicity is at least, they're trying to match Oxygen, trying to match Simplicity's siege damage from the top lane into mid lane. First objective phase is up and available, and the first objective phase of Alterac Pass has a 30-second channel time necessary to be able to get the objective. It also only spawns 2 jailers. The second objective spawns 3 jailers and is 40-second. Third objective onward is 50 seconds for channel time and 4 jailers to deal with. So a little bit of scaling and difficulty on the map. And now, Grubby, we're back to siege camps because this null camp has a minute 30 cooldown, one of the shortest camp timers in the game.
Yeah, really, really crazy timing. Can Nova make that 45 seconds?
Yeah, because of her covert mission, I believe is the name of the talent, where she can bribe. If you bribe the entire camp, you get 50% cooldown reduction on said camp timer. Unfortunately, it was cool when we had it on more than one hero. With Vikings, I can kind of see it being a little broken if you're really, really good at doing that split soaking, but kind of wish we had that for more bribery. I think it's a cool factor in general.
Yeah. I'm just surprised Nova isn't being abused more on this map. She's got the decoy to hold the grunts and then...
See?
Right? Covert ops. But this is looking very good for Simplicity. This amount of damage on the fort, there's just no way to even deal with it. Not only can they not deal with the Hogger camp quickly enough, they can't grab their own quickly enough. They've lost top wall, almost all of mid fort, while losing the objective and getting pushed in top. I mean, this is just a massive push imbalance here that's being displayed, as you would expect from Karazim Greymane. and Anubarak, not to mention the usual suspects of the Haka and Tychus. It's just pure raw pushing power. This could end in like under 15 minutes at this rate. For Alterac,
yeah,
that's
crazy.
Not even blinking. Yeah.
But why would it be crazy for Alterac Pass, Grubby? Any map you can just go core and end, right?
It's that armor on the core, plus this core is a spinning barbarian from Diablo 2, basically. It's got like some kind of whirlwind, it's got regeneration, there's no points for trying into this core, and it's got 20, 40, or invincible armor, depending on the amount of keeps that are up, so yeah, it's tough to end here. Now, there's a kill on Mephisto. Simplicity, man. Can Meta get away? Jet propulsion, just shy of the mark. Where's the oil? Gotta oil up that Tychus body. That's tried.
It is.
Yeah.
It is the sun's out, guns out skin for Tychus. So yeah, definitely got to get that lotion on. So you got to keep yourself nice and moisturized here on Alterac Pass.
But he slipped away.
Yeah, he's a little too oiled up, and he just
Yep.
Blaze went to go grab Tychus, and he just slipped through his fingers because he's all oiled up.
Mistake, big mistake.
Big mistake.
And Simplicity with the first boss at just 5 minutes 42, just 40 seconds after it even spawns. That just shows the height of Oxygen's problems.
It seriously seems like Oxygen can't do anything. They can't respond to anything Simplicity's doing. We've just seen Simplicity get free siege through top, free siege through mid. Not a ton in bottom lane, but that doesn't seem like Simplicity's priority. They really want to just open up mid, open up top, keep throwing these bosses, and our next objective phase will be in the bottom portion of the map. As I mentioned, it's the second one, so 40 seconds of channel time necessary. 10 talent tiers here for both sides. Is this what avails the pressure onto Oxygen? Can they do something with these 10 talent tiers? Gust, Blink, Bunker, Lightning Breath, and Endurance of Hate.
Well, they've got the tools for teamfight, but will they be given it? It's the funny paradox of globals that are supposed to have good map pressure and control. That's only true if your wave clear is equal. When you're heavily outmatched, for example, by massive Sylvanas or Hammer, or indeed Greymon and Uberak push, sometimes being able to be in different places at a very brief consecutive time is not good enough, because just you being somewhere is already not good enough to stop the push. So you've got no time to go somewhere else. Well, that kind of makes sense.
That does make sense. There's a cocoon onto Blaze. Falstad angled for the gust behind the wall. Dahaka, though, gets the drag onto this Falstad. Draded trying to barrel roll away, gets the face shift from Heavy. Lightning Breath gonna be cooking up a Greymane, as well as this Kerosene. Double kill over to the side of Oxygen.
Yeah, if Simplicity was manning a sailboat, then Oxygen just punched two big holes with two cannonballs through the sails and have stopped the momentum. And Uberak will try to kind of slow down this objective, but that's just what Oxygen needed.
Oh, that was a good turnaround for Oxygen into the side of Simplicity, who, as I said, Simplicity looks so dominant, and I was expecting Simplicity to win that fight, but great healing from Brightwing, great phase shift as well to save Draded. Fancy Pants was not able to just find that last little bit of damage. The drag was good, it just, no isolation was used either, apparently, so we'll have to see what happens here, because we had a little channel time in favor of Oxygen. They get about, they need 16 seconds, but Grubby, I believe we got a big old replay to take a look at for that last fight. You can break down what happened exactly in that mid lane engagement.
Let's jump into it. We can see that there's a cocoon on Blaze, then we have a play on top of, it's actually hard to see who it is, yeah, on top of...
Draded?
Who's that third? I can't see it, it's too dark on my screen, sorry. Great analysis. Kills were made. I couldn't see it. Greymane. Oh.
Yeah.
I need to change my brightness settings. New monitor. Sorry. Yeah.
That's okay.
Really nice salvage there by Oxygen, basically.
Yeah, Oxygen was just able to turn the tide in that team fight. I was actually expecting, as I said, Falstad to fall, Blaze to go down, but good play overall, good save, and 13s will be here for both teams. The scaling for Oxygen coming through, that Falstad, more hammerings at that level 13 for him. Jet Propulsion is going to be amplified by that Collision Course, 458 additional damage on top of his already 87.
Very nice. Very nice damage.
Collision Course is such a strong talent, honestly, for Blaze. It really...
Yeah, 87 is nothing, but that bonus damage is super impressive.
definitely propelled him into a higher spot. Am I right? You see what I did there, Grubby?
I see. Yeah.
Okay.
I see. I will not jettison that reference away.
10 out of 10, Grubby. I'm proud of you. Thank you. I'm sure Chad is just resident sleepers. And they're just like, oh god, please, no. Masquerade to be delayed out from trying to get the channel, but he will just keep going for the channel because he's technically unthreatened, not actually taking any damage as Nasmus gets the camp for mid lane. Dahaka showing in top. Volstead, he might be showing in mid as he's clearing a wave. We have a bit of a stall on the second objective phase of the game. 16 talents here might be being looked at by both these teams. A little faster for the side of Simplicity as a bush is checked by the Blaze Oil Slick.
Okay. Level 16 is looming. Dahaka keeps doing Dahaka things, which is really quite annoying, actually. Oxygen is getting their top keep pushed in, and they only have one tower left there, so they don't really want to let that go. Pat's been doing a great job of applying side lane pressure. Tyke is leaning out bottom. At 16, gonna get reached. Good thing for Oxygen is that top boss is not available yet. It's 20 seconds. It's close though. Unaverted is going there. That's gonna be a boss play for Unaverted. He will get help.
But does this give over the objective phase quickly to the side of Oxygen? Can they grab this objective? Can they make something happen? Or is it just going to be Oxygen clearing waves and being threatened by a Nubrak constantly as I'm watching the minimap?
I think you have to go for boss now. And there we have the Masquerade special, the channel by himself. It looks like Oxygen is either none the wiser or unwilling to act under present conditions.
It seems like that is absolutely the case. Vince gets the stall and Nubrak gets one poke as well. The boss being pinged into top lane is the kind of the green light for Oxygen to say, okay, it's just Masquerade. He's feigning that he has people around him. Mene just not showing in lane, manipulating the vision once again. 16s, though, will be here for both sides. Falstead trying to clear things out in type. Isolation doesn't connect from the burrow into bottom lane. Mephisto is okay for now. Masquerade not able to get the channel. Vince comes in with the shadow charge. Falstead, he should have flight off a cooldown if he wants to join into this fight, but he's currently dealing with the boss in the top lane. I don't know how much longer he realistically needs to stay there as the Commandeer Odin comes down for bottom lane to open things up further.
It's just going for the fort.
Yeah.
Falstad is still forced to defend top. It's a 4v5 for Oxygen. Super risky, actually. They're taking that fight. They've got just enough to dissuade Legacy and friends. In comes Falstad. This is the moment where Oxygen wants to get results. Blaze just gets deleted. Nobody helping him. That's so sad for him.
It was a little late gust. Drada was looking for the angle to try and make something happen here, but Madara and the rest of Oxygen, they're looking to dive in. They want to go for this kill onto Masquerade. He burrows away with some 400 HP, taps the well, gets out of there. Surprised that Oxygen tried to make something happen again. Tychus, though, did immediately leave, so I guess that was kind of the, okay, it's 4v4 for Oxygen sort of deal.
Minion bailed up for Oxygen top. Is good. Falstad's defense was good. His arrival was timely. Masquerade channeling again.
Just doing Masquerade things apparently on the Sanubrak as there's so much damage into Vince. He goes down. That's going to be Durant to fade out from the Mephisto not connecting. There's
nice
a great drag onto the Mephisto. He goes down. Souls reset on Diablo. The consolation prize for the members of Oxygen, a mid lane camp. The prize for the side of Simplicity, a kill, an objective, and a boss.
Yeah, great prize there for Simplicity. They get that boss even. This, in most maps, under present circumstances, could be a game-winning moment somewhere in the next 70 seconds. On this map, I'm not sure. I don't think top keep will fall. Mid keep, probably not yet. And just bottom keep will fall. And then it's really down to, can Simplicity get kills, Bahamut?
Well, the rate that they're going, absolutely, but the positioning of Oxygen will be critical in this engagement, and I agree with you. Like, if you get quite a few kills, let's say 3-4 kills, on the side of Simplicity into Oxygen, you can try and end here. We talked about that core shielding, but if you have enough kills, you can sit there and just wail away at the core, and you've got a camp to buff out your damage. You got a boss to tank some shots. You got an objective to tank some of these shots. It's a lot of really good siege potential through this bottom lane as Dahaka is split pushing through mid, looking for that secondary keep. And Simplicity, they won't try and go core because there's no kills available. They're going to try and double keep with this objective phase.
I feel like Nazmaz may have been better off defending top, because now core will definitely drop to 20 armor, which means whatever happens, she can go for core and Simplicity. Actually, I think they're going to lose all keeps. Yeah, this is going to be a great moment for Simplicity.
Cocoon connects on to the Mephisto. Masquerade waiting for that bunker to expire. The Commandeer Odin does whittle down the keep. And as you said, Grubby...
You can go core. It's 15k, 0 armor. You have 20 advantage. You have no Odin, I guess. A bit of Odin, yeah. I think they could have gone core. What do you think? Am I too optimistic?
No, I don't think, like, Simplicity's been playing this really, really aggressive. They've got extremely good damage, as we just saw them take down 2 keeps, and then the top lane did it, took down itself, or not took down itself. The top lane objective pushed it. Yeah, the top lane keep was like, you know what? I don't want to be with the rest of these keeps that are down. I'm just gonna fall apart myself. But no,
bring on the catapults. This sucks.
It definitely did fall to the objective phase. The one thing that I actually want to note here really quickly, because we've seen a lot of false stats today, and I just now noticed this. We're 15 minutes in, nearing 20 for the side of Oxygen, and false stat is 30 stacks.
Wow.
It's really low. Like, I'm not trying to, like, flame Drade it or anything like that, but it's just...
Why are you flaming Drade it? Like,
well, I had a point, but I guess I'm flaming Drade it, so we'll just leave it at that. No, my point is, actually, that Simplicity are denying some of these stacks. I feel like Drade is forced to constantly use this hammering to clear, rather than to be able to poke onto enemy heroes in a team fight.
Exactly. It's like that Storm League game where your ranged DPS takes a PvP talent when he's literally the only one with wave clear. Like, you've got Muradin, Malfurion, and 2 non-DPS, no wave clearers. And then your Rainer goes for, like, level 1 quest, where he wants to PvP. It's like, come on, bro, we didn't need to take camps. That's kind of the feeling here, because of the map pressure. Well, you said it. The map pressure from Simplicity has not allowed Falstad to play the PvP game. Oh, he's gonna work on his combo. 30 hits, 35.
He leaves it. Vince is sitting just outside the bush, invisible, completely invisible. Draded in the bush on the left side of our screen, completely invisible as well. They get pure invisibility, or excuse me, true stealth is the way that I think we call it in this game. And it basically, if you stand still for 1.5 seconds with the invisible friends, you are unseeable. Though, if someone collides with your body, they definitely, will collide with the body, just won't reveal you or anything like that. So... look at Simplicity. They're just constantly split pushing. You got Kerzi mid, Dahaka bottom, Draded's forced to Hearth out, and these Reaver minions, while they don't deal increased damage to structures, they have 50
I checked
armor.
It last time, right?
No.
They do more damage than minions.
Oh, they deal more damage to minions, but it's not like
It's not multiplied.
It's not multiplied. Sorry, yeah, I misunderstood. That's my fault.
Or maybe I misunderstood your phrasing, but I remember checking last time. I'm like, they do more damage than other minions, but that's just into minions and heroes, then, I suppose. Yeah, makes sense.
But it's like ranged minions deal triple damage into structures. Catapults, they deal double damage into structures. Objective phases typically do that as well. So it's just always those little factors, but they're just such tanky little buggers. Like, they're so annoying to deal with, honestly. But here we have our third objective of the game. Could this be a win for the side of Oxygen, as we have Fancy Pants in the bottom lane pushing out? I'm expecting a team fight from Oxygen.
It's funny, these side pushes don't do anything until they do everything. That's kind of how this map works. Oh, painful.
Good 7-sided. Actually, with the level 20 upgrade as well, the transgression for the extra hits, Falstad will be falling in this engagement. Massive burrow charge from Masquerade will connect onto Vince and Heavy. Vince very low, gets the phase shift from Heavy just in time. The objective phase still channeled in favor for Oxygen. Madara goes down right there. Nazmus getting chased by Mene, tanks a tower shot, but it's actually Mene with the snipe. A triple kill will be found to the side of Simplicity. No, they're not doing this.
It's wow. I mean, this is a slaughter. Like, you had several different members of Simplicity targeting several different players, and all of them provided an insurmountable threat. That's the nature of that team fight, of the draft there, of the play of Simplicity. Fantastic job. They really closed this out very hegemoniously, and Oxygen fell. GG, 3-2 to Simplicity.
Simplicity continues their dominance here in HeroesCCL as they are undefeatable They may lose a map or two, but they will not lose a series. And well played from Oxygen. Good rally, but it is going to be the turnaround. And it wasn't really a reverse sweep by any means, just a really good back and forth series justing. And I had a blast on this map, but Simplicity, the dominant force here with 8 kills to 2.
Yeah, Simplicity closing out the series like a first place team right now. That was textbook for how to play this map. They played it basically perfectly. I don't think I've ever seen an objective that early in the game. So for the first objective phase, they come out, they immediately start pushing top with the Greymane and the Anubarak. Masquerade ends up solo capping the entire objective by himself.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't typically happen. And they got that through their macro advantage. They have Greymane who can do the camps very easily, and Oxygen didn't have anyone who can really do camps. So they just fell so far behind in macro that Masquerade was able to literally get the entire objective before 4 minutes. And then they get boss at 5 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. It's just, that's insane. They got top and mid fort at like 6 minutes into the game on Alterac. That basically never happens. So it was just, you had Oxygen that had a teamfight comp that really wants the teamfight, but has almost no macro at all with Mephisto. You could see Mephisto just struggling to try to do the null camps, while Greymane just does it with ease with Monk. And yeah, so Oxygen has a better teamfight. Simplicity had much better macro, and then they actually ended up having a better team fight by just outplaying in the end. So really, really well played by Simplicity. That was about the most dominant game on Alterac we've seen by far.
Absolutely. Domination had by Simplicity. And I believe we actually have Mene on the line right now. We can chat with him about that game. Mene, congratulations on your victory. How you feeling, bud? Oh, I cannot hear Mene just yet. Okay. Maybe? Can I? Hello?
1 2 1
we
2.
have a Mene? Yeah, there we go. Mene, thank you. Congratulations on your victory versus Oxygen. I'm curious, how you feeling after 5 long games like that?
I will be honest, disappointed. I don't think it should have gone 5 games. I think the curse solo should have been ours, but we played extremely bad. But they played extremely good on Tom though, so I think it should have been a 3-1. And I think we definitely can play better. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't want to hog all the questions, so I'm going to throw it over to Justing for a question or two.
Yep, so congrats first of all. When you played Zag on Volskaya, did you know that the game was going to go so long that pushing top from level 1 was the play there? Or did that just kind of end up working out that way?
Well, when I play Zag, I noticed that until 16 I have nothing to do anyway, so why not pushing the wall early? So, you know, if I can get like level 10 slightly before them, and then we can have a good team fight, like, you know, slightly with the ultimate and stuff, it's good. So since I have nothing to do and it's too dangerous for me to double rotate alone, well, I just decide to throw my bendings 24/7 on the wall and hope that I get it fast enough without dying.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool. No, it's good to get a little insight into your Zagara play. Grubby, of course, a question for Masquerade.
For Mene,
Mene, sorry, I did this last week. I almost...
Wait, can we swap this guy? Mene, you're a little self-critical there, despite the victory. Always a good quality. Is there any post-mortem, or is it more just an observation? Are you guys going to be like, yo, you know, we should have done it like this, like that?
I think we, like, because I compare it to scrims and I know we can do better. I think maybe because the games didn't feel that good, because, you know, now, like, since it's like week 5, people are going better and better. They target ban a lot, so we don't have like our super drafts. Like, we didn't get tracers a single time. The games are going to be for sure harder, so we have to step up our gameplay instead of just outdrafting people, and that's probably why it felt weird to me that we struggled that much.
That's really interesting. It doesn't feel as comfortable because you're not given everything anymore.
Exactly.
You're not given everything you would want, yeah.
Yeah.
But still, you guys won. It was a very strong opponent, so still a congrats in order.
Yeah, it feels good.
Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations indeed. You still remain number 1. You still sit at 5-0 with an undefeated overall score. So that's awesome, Mene, at the same time. So still give yourself a little credit because you did carry quite well in some of these games. on the heroes that you did play. And before I let you run out of here, Mene, any shoutouts that you'd like to give? The floor is all yours.
Absolutely. I want to give a big shout out to all the interns in Storm League in EU. Thanks a lot for denying me from getting rank 1 every day. I love you all. And of course to Simplicity and my teammate.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us, Mene, for the interview. Congratulations on your victory. We look forward to seeing you in week number 6 up against Storm Esports. Good luck in your scrims, practice, and all that good stuff in between.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for joining us. Man, I gotta be honest, like, Grubby, I think, and you said it perfectly, like, he is being very self-critical, and that is actually a good factor in these games, because you can definitely grow from being a little, like, you being the biggest critic can also be some of the best for you as well, because you're like, okay, I know that I did this wrong, I can do better. So that little bit of a push is always good to have, and definitely good in the competitive spirit. He was just, I gotta say, like, even though he might be giving himself a hard time, I think Mene did a great job today with the characters he plays, the role he carries, and his split push pressure through that Volskaya Foundry game that was just so critical for the team of Simplicity. It was a great day of games, a lot of fun here. I'm not sure, Justin, do you have any sort of super big breakdowns for us by chance?
Yep, I've got the super big breakdown of the day, in fact, powered by Wisdom Esports. Wisdom Esports, yeah, that's where I'm at right now with my brain, so
that's fine.
It's turning to footing, but yeah, so I've got a clip from Oxygen and Simplicity on Tomb of the Spider Queen, so we can get right into it. So the clip begins with Simplicity trying to take aggressive moves on all fronts. They've got 2 people bottom, but they're really split here. They've got 2 bottom, well, they're trying to turret dive mid, which is really a bit of a bold move, and Masquerade gets completely split by the Flame Breath from Vince. And watch Nazmaz just instantly burrows in on the hunt. And Legacy's now kind of just stuck in a bad situation. They hit the isolation, and also watch Vince again he doesn't immediately charge because he expects Blaze to try to interrupt it, so he waits a little bit and just goes on the Blaze. And the gust from Mene, Nazmaz actually says thank you, and kind of just gets the tongue there. He gets the little added boost, and Legacy has nowhere to run. This was the moment that kind of made the series close. Before this, it had felt like Simplicity was going to just completely steamroll the series in a 3-0. This was the moment where, as Draded kind of gets popped there, this is the moment where there was some hope for Oxygen in the series, and that was kind of they're the beginning to try to make some kind of a comeback in the series. But in the end, of course, Simplicity was the better team overall.
Simplicity continuing to be the dominant force in HeroesCCL Season 3, not dropping a single series by any means. And I keep mentioning this factor, but it is the big storyline of Simplicity. They are our Titan of CCL, and we'll see if anyone can take down this Titan. As I said, next weekend they go up against Storm Esports, but I believe we have some league standings we can update everyone at home about and kind of get you all up to date as to what happened today to be able to show you what the results look like on the leaderboard. So we had Simplicity. They're still number 1. 30K who did take that victory. They're sitting comfortable at the number 2 spot. They haven't moved. Diamond Hands, they have dropped down. They were our number 3 today, Grubby, and they're down to number 5. But
still the potential, right? Still
right.
Sitting solid in the pack, and every improved placement at the final table standings is 1 match fewer that you've got to play in the gauntlet if you are rank 5 to 8. So somewhere near top 4 will be just fine for anybody already. And then we look at Chili Mountain. They're at 0-4. They're facing Storm Esports tomorrow. We've got Granite Gaming at 1-3. They're facing Wildheart, who is 2-2. I feel like tomorrow and next weekend is going to pretty much sort out our final standings, most likely, with, ±1 or so. Whether teams can make top 3 still will be decided in the next 8 days.
it's going to be a hard day of games tomorrow for Chili Mountain as they have to go up against that Storm Esports roster. And then we'll close out the weekend with Wildheart Esports up against Granite Gaming. That match, the Wildheart versus Granite Gaming one, I feel like it could go a few extra games because Granite's looking a little bit, they're trending up a little bit. They did take a map week number 4 up against Simplicity. So we'll see how Wildheart does because Wildheart versus Simplicity, that was also actually, Wildheart took a map off Simplicity. So looking at records, things are kind of interesting between both those sides. And then in that week number 4, 30K just 3-0'd Wildheart. So tomorrow's going to be a really, really fun day of games. And I want to give a quick special shout out to an amazing series of Here's the Storm series that we have that's not actually on Saturday and Sunday. It takes place on Thursdays and Fridays. It's the Heroes Rising Contender series. What is this? Well, it's basically a way for anyone that isn't in HGC. What am I talking about? Anyone that isn't in CCL. I know. I'm just like Justin, my brain's turning to pudding. Oh, thank you. Okay. Either way, Heroes Rising Contender Series is open to anyone who wants to sign up. You can follow them at Heroes_Rise on Twitter and find out all about the qualifiers. I believe there is one more qualifier, and then there's a playoff series in a couple weeks as well for the first stint of this, and then there's a second stint as well. There is a prize pool in all of this as well. So if you are not playing in CCL and you have a roster, or you got some friends that you want to play with, you can sign up for those weekly tournaments. There are only 16 slots per qualifier as well, so you got to get those signups in as quickly as you possibly can. So as a reminder, in Twitter you can find them at Heroes_Rise. But thank you to its Wildheart, 30K, and Oxygen. They're actually the ones who run this Heroes Rising Contender series as well. So thank you to the organizations of CCL who are putting this on to give us more Heroes of the Storm content outside of our CCL weekends. But as we've talked about all of this cool stuff today, I got to get both of your takeaways, and I want to start with you, Justin. What's your kind of takeaway from today?
Simplicity is still on top. They're still looking very, very strong. It's good to see that they closed out the series with their last game being so dominant. Also, Oxygen, I think that Vince is meshing fairly well with the team. He had the 2 losses on May, and I think that might have been a little bit of just, May just might not be so good right now. So overall, I think like Vince played overall pretty well with Oxygen. So it's nice to see that although they did lose, it was close against Simplicity, and it's just nice to see these teams getting a little bit closer in skill to each other as the season progresses, like Mene had pointed out.
Yep, a lot of really good progression so far, and today we saw some really great games. Grubby, any takeaways, any thoughts?
Yeah, 30K is looking like a top 3 contender. They've always had the potential, but they've never quite delivered. Simplicity won twice, obviously. Wildheart has been in the finals. I think Storm's been in the finals once, but 30K is like the one with the most repeated potential, but never making good on it. It would be exciting to see them go a little further, and they looked really good today. That's my biggest takeaway.
It's been a great day of games. It's been really fun here on HeroesCCL, and we really appreciate all of you at home for watching and donating to that prize pool. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We will be back tomorrow morning, at least tomorrow morning for me, 11 a.m. PST, 2 o'clock EST, and 20 CET. Until tomorrow for those Sunday afternoon games of HeroesCCL, I have been Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justin. You all have an awesome night. Go get yourself a nice glass of water, or maybe even some pizza. Either way, we'll see you tomorrow for more HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. Have a good night. We'll see you in the Nexus.